Welcome back. It's another RP Live. Myself, Dave Orton, back in the chair with the Betfair Exchange. Oh, what a glorious feeling. I am happy again. It's Goodwood. We've got 5 days to bring you. So good to have you back. Hashtag RP Live. Don't forget to get your social comments in for us in the studio. We've already had one race at Goodwood. We'll be doing all the terrestrial TV races for you throughout the week. A marathon in store. Some stellar stuff. Isn't it great to be back at Goodwood? So much to talk about. Now, time to introduce the panel to you. Ha-ha! We have a debutante in the chair. I can call you once and for all my dear friend, Tony Ennis, Anthony Ennis, Enzo. How are we going to tell people, how are we going to call you this?
Enzo's fine, as we're kind of a bit informal today, aren't we? So it's going to be a bit of fun. Enzo's good with me, Dave. But yeah, great to be here. Debut on at RP Live, and looking forward to it. Stradivarius, of course, he's the big horse today, isn't he? 15 out of 22 lifetime. Looking to make history and make it 4.
Here he is. Stradivarius' toughest test. Stradivarius' toughest test, I should say. I've done it already. We'll get to that. Enzo, great to have you here. People know Tony Ennis from Sky, of course, doing all the stateside live. During lockdown, coronavirus hit. I remember having a WhatsApp from you. You were down in the mouth about everything. What are we going to do? But you kept the good... Was it like the Marie Celeste, those stateside evenings?
Those Friday nights, though, Tampa Bay and Gulfstream, the amount of emails we had, it was so busy. Great turnout, I'm sure, on the American action. And hopefully those American racing fans have stuck with it now that the UK racing's back.
The shackles are off you a little bit here, which is quite nice of you, isn't it? You've seen the show and you've got a rough idea what it's like.
Yeah, I watched one a few months ago, so yeah.
You can tell what sort of chap Anthony is. I say Anthony. When you, we'll get to the name game. The way your laptop screen is, it's rather it's a little bit
TV friendly
that way, isn't it?
TV friendly.
All right, okay. Mine's a bit more upright. Talking about upright, talking about uptight. Neil Hubbard back out of his Betfair cupboard. Here he is, joining us all week. 5 days back in the studio. Neil, great to have you here.
Yeah, happy to be here. Great week of racing on the cards. One of the best weeks of racing of the year. And yeah, this year looks no different. Really excited.
One of the best racing weeks of the year. I mean, especially in 2020, chaps, isn't it? Because Royal Ascot was all a little bit rushed, wasn't it? Loads of guesswork, races that we never had before. 5 furlong, 3-year-old handicaps, for example, some 2-year-old events as well. And at Silver, Cambridge, Hunt Cups and Wokinghams and all that sort of stuff. Now, the form really has bedded down slightly, hasn't it? And this is a week to... Well, of course, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Too responsible gambling out there is what it's all about. Hone in on your targets. When you really fancy one, you can have a good go at it, can't you?
Yeah, and I think this week, as you sort of said, like we're now into the sort of normal cadence of the season now. So this is what you expect to see. There's some decent form lines that are starting to emerge for some really competitive handicaps. The 2-year-olds have raced a little bit more, so although there's still a little bit of a guessing game there, you've got a little bit more to go on. And then the older stars, Stradivarius a bit later, it's great. So you've got a bit of everything this week.
We've got 2 horses today on the card going to, for unprecedented wins. Stradivarius, for, bidding to beat Double Trigger, who won in the race 3 times at Goodwood Cup, but also Sir Dance-A-Lot, Tony, as well.
Yeah,
the Lennox.
Yeah, he's kind of farmed that race, isn't he? In recent, never a horse that sometimes a horse wins a race, you never really get attached to them. I think he's one of those for me. Sir Dance-A-Lot, but
well, loads of people love him because he's one of these, isn't he? That when he gets his optimum conditions, which I think Goodwood on easy ground probably is, and he wins these photo finishes, he can get through the trouble. If you don't know much about Goodwood, we'll educate you as much as we can going forward. It is an idiosyncratic track. If you don't know much about Betfair, you're going to be learning a lot, whether you're a beginner, a novice, or indeed a seasoned pro. Neil will be giving you loads of tips and trips and lots of offers along the way, Neil, as well.
Yeah, and we have an offer for race 1 today, so the 145 at Goodwood. So if you head over to the Betfair Exchange and place £20 worth of back bets on the exchange, you'll get a free £20 bet. With that free £20 bet, if you use that and you win, you'll get another free bet. If you use that and you win, you'll get another. So the more winners you back, the more winners you back, the more free bets you get.
It's a rolling offer. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, welcome. There's a survey you can do throughout this week. You'll see the link, fill it in. The person at the end will get a nice prize as well. Keep you on the way. We know you love this show. We love to hear your feedback and your comments. Hashtag RP Live. When the Facebook chat going down, we read that as well as it's going. A lot of you have a bit of banter on that as well. Let's hear your comments. Get them in. We'll give you a shout out here. So, shall we get to race 1, guys? Because we're not that far behind. We've already had race 1 of the meeting, but race 1 for us will be the 145. Neil mentioned competitive handicaps. Boy, we've got one coming up here, but we did have a fillies handicap, the 110. The things to tell you about that was, well, Tom Marquand off to an absolute flyer. Tomorrow's Dream, fine ride, up there all the way. William Haggis off the mark as well. And it's good to soft, that's what it's been given at. Drying all the time. The weather is going to get hotter and hotter and hotter, we think, throughout the week. But there is definitely still juice in the ground, Tony. There's a bit of a headwind as well, isn't there?
Yeah, what was it? Good to soft in places. I think 6.8 on the going stick officially. But after that first race, as you say, they've had the reports coming in.
Yeah.
It doesn't look too bad. I was a bit worried when I saw a bit of windsy yesterday. I thought, how much is this rain going to get into the ground? But no, I think we should be okay. Good
drainage track, isn't it? Okay, so we're starting off with a little bit of dig underneath, but a level playing field for all. Let's have a look at the market then for this uber competitive handicap over a mile 2. Mark Johnson's got a great record, but there's been a right old gamble in this, Neil Hubbard, and he's now at the top of the market.
Yeah, there's actually been quite a few stories in this market, and Tinadali is, was at the head of the market. He's now just been usurped by Bell Rock and 5th position, who are joint favourites now. So you've got Bell Rock 6.8, 5th position 6.6, Tinadali 7, Cape Cavalli 7.6, and Devereaux is the one that they don't want. So he was as short as 6.8 overnight, but he's out to bigger than 10 to 1 now on the exchange.
So Michael Stout and Ryan Moore drawn in 18 of the 18 runners. Now, I was speaking to Paul Keeley this morning on a feature show that we did on Racing Post, and he said it's the last 2 days where they open up the track. Basically, that's where the draw in the Golden Mile, for example, you want to be in the low draws really. But I think if you're looking for low draws, 7 furlongs and a mile at Goodwood, you're not going to go too far wrong. However, mile 2, anything above that, you can take your luck. And Tom Segal, in his Price-Wise piece this morning in the paper, chaps, he said, this 145 race often goes to the horse that enjoys the most luck, never mind the best horse in the race. We've got loads of them that could be potential pattern performers in the making, ones that might run in listed or group races. But as you said, loads of gambles along the way, some really weak ones as well. I'm not totally surprised about Derevo there, but Neil, where are you playing? Because we know that the punters like to react early to your moves.
Yeah, so I'm going to play with Tinadali in this. It's potentially a little bit shorter than I would have liked, but we're going to side with Tinadali in this, and we're just going to place the simple back bet on Tinadali.
Let's get it on.
So to do that, we go across to those blue boxes. He's 7 on the exchange, so in decimal odds, that's 6 to 1. So we just click that. It adds to your bet slip, and we're going to put in £20. The reason we'll put in £20 is because we've got that first race offer. Bet 20, get 20. So we'll have £20 win on Tinadali at 6 to 1 on the exchange to get us off to, hopefully, a winning start, and that bet's matched.
Yeah, OK, well, I actually backed the winner of the first, would you believe it, that Tomorrow's Dream, so I'm on a double. I'm feeling the love already, and it's Tinadali for me as well. Before we find out what Tony Ennis thinks, let's go to Paul Keeley.
Those boys trained by Rafe Beckett, and he absolutely hacked up first time out this season, won by 3 lengths from Harrovian, who won next time, and then went off one of the favourites for the John Smith Cup. That's really good form. 3 other winners were behind him. Yet Babbo's boy is 33 to 1 because he ran in the Old Newton Cup last time and finished tailed off. That was a mile and a half on soft ground, though. It was just too much of a test for him, and if he's forgiven that, he's a ludicrous price. Alternative Fact was 6 to Babbo's boy first time out, and has since done really well in 3-mile races. He was 3rd at Royal Ascot, he then won at Haydock, and then finished 2nd when getting hampered at the start and having a switch around the field to make his run in the straight. He looks to me like an improving horse, and all those runs were over a mile, yet last year his best form was over a mile 2 and a mile 4. He's back up to a mile 2 now, and he must have a fair chance.
Thank you, Mr. Keeley, trying to knock it out of the park. Right then, Enzo. Are you going for something at a big price, or are you looking for the potential group horse in the handicap here? Come on.
Biggish price, I'll say biggish. It's about 9 to 1, I think. Maydani I quite like. The horse was beaten at 4 to 6 last time at Newmarket.
What happened there?
It just never looked comfortable. But how many times have we seen a Mark Johnston horse bounce back next time? I think if it didn't run at Newmarket, it would be about 7 to 2 for this on the back of the Ascot run.
SDS on?
Yeah, Stall 1, Sylvester. Mark Johnston loves winning handicaps around here, as we know. Just think he's been ignored a little bit. I'm looking at Tinadali. He was behind Sky Defender, wasn't he, at Epsom? I know he's better off, I think, at the weights to turn that around. But
it's the John Smith's run for Tinadali.
Yeah,
if you look back on your members club, if you're there, you've got time. They're just around about. They're ambling down behind the boxes on our monitor. We can see here. It was a luckless run, but 5 to 1, definitely as short as you want to be. So
Maydani sticking with it, yeah.
Johnson, Goodwood, and
SDS is back in form.
SDS is back in form, and it's almost like, isn't it? If they're arriving off a poor run, It almost gives you a bit more confidence with the Johnson horses, doesn't it? Mark Johnson will run 3 or 4 in the race. He has got other Neil Hubbard in the race as well, hasn't he? You've got Sky Defender in here, who you think's a ludicrously big price as well.
Yeah, Sky Defender, it sort of falls into what Enzo was saying there in terms of if he hadn't run last time and if he was coming here off the back of what his Epsom run, he'd be much shorter. Because on the exchange, Sky Defender is 55s. So you can get bigger than 50 to 1 about him on the exchange. Obviously, he didn't run very well last time, but prior to that, he was a good winner of a good handicap at Epsom. So it just wouldn't surprise. You couldn't put him up with any confidence. All that we're saying is you wouldn't be surprised if he outrun those odds.
Which is the horse in here that we think will trade a bit shorter in running, chaps? I mean, if you look at the pace map, you're looking at like the likes of Wargrave, for example, one of the outsiders. In fact, the rank outsider. In fact, the 2 rags, him and Lawn Ranger, both like to get on with it. Do we find that Goodwood, is it in running carnage in these sort of handicaps?
You do get a lot of short prices beat and big prices winning. So in answer, yes. I think over the last few years, especially I can remember in some maidens when things get caught on the rail and you get things turned over at short prices and other things coming from miles back and shooting down the outside. So it's definitely one that if you've never played in running before, it's definitely a meeting to watch the markets, to learn about the markets, and we might get quite a few stories off the back of it.
Yeah. So who's going to go outright fav here, chaps? Because we've got Bell Rock, who comes into this for Andrew Balding, Oisin Murphy. What a season he is having, Tony Ennis.
Yeah, top already, isn't he? Champion jockey. Looks like it's between him and Tom Marquand,
the
I think, for Jockey Championship this year. I think he's about 5 ahead of him, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, both of them absolutely fantastic jobs. We were speaking off air, weren't we? Saying if you could have 2 just to take with you, and you threw James Doyle into there as well. They're I never sort of shout at the telly with either of them, really.
No, but Tom Marquand, as you say, forget how young he is still. He's just absolutely brilliant. He's made such progress, such giant strides in such a short space of time, riding very well. He's on a bit of an outsider, isn't he, Nicholas T. Interesting thing I thought about this race, well, a lot of strong finishes here. You're talking about how the in-running market's going to play. There's a lot of horses that do their best work late on and that are dropping in distance, like 5th position. I can see Bell Rock coming with a late run. Tin and Darley's got a strong finish in him. Quite a few others as well. Derivo. It's that race where there's a few finishes in the race.
This is a proper, glorious handicap at Goodwood, isn't it? And it wouldn't really be surprised if a rag went and win it. So we are, roughly around about 2 or 3 minutes away from the first here on RP Live 145. Get your social comments in. You know, I'll have to absolutely shout you out there, and we'll have them on the way. And as if by magic, we've got one coming up on the screen. Who've we got? Let's have a little look coming in. Nigel Codrington.
Go on, Nigel.
Maidani to go back in with the
Good
Enzo.
Man. Good man.
Thank you, Nigel. Great to have you on board. Maidani. And again, has been talked about, forgiving a horse a bad run. Mm-hmm. He was the horse for lots of others, along with Mahatha in the same ownership as well, who's come out and won the Summer Mile. Big chance in tomorrow's Sussex Stakes. What a race that is. Let us know who you think will win that. Forgiving a horse one run, it's not hard, is it? It was just too bad to be true.
Did you watch the Silver Hunt Cup run when he was on the wrong side? Massive eye catcher.
And that's strong form, isn't it?
You couldn't win over that side that day.
Yeah. What about the trip for him? You're not worried about that? You get a ground-saving run?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think he might be one that might actually trade shorter in the run, Danny. So, I think he's...
There's a couple like him, though, when you say about forgiving a last run. So you've got him. Yuri Gagarin went off a short price and blew out at Newmarket last time. We've already mentioned Sky Defender. You got Babbo's Boy, who was Keely's tip as well.
Yeah.
He blew out at Haydock, but prior to that was a really impressive winner.
Yes.
So if you're in the business of forgiving a run last time, you've got quite a few options in
so
this.
We're not making it any easier for you out there. And perhaps the boys at My Racing can help you. They've got an each-way double coming up. Great to have the boys at My Racing alongside us. Check out their Twitter. They've got a huge following there, myracing.com, for expert tips and analysis. Let's just get the nap out the way. It's Battleground in the Vintage Stakes coming up. They've got an ACCA, which I'll get to a little bit later on, but their first leg of their each-way double. It's a horse that we've not mentioned, guys. It's Cape Cavalli here for Simon and Ed Crisford, and they've also gone for Benny the Jets as well in the 3:45, the burn-up sprint as well. That's the each-way double for the guys at My Racing as well. Cape Cavalli, Enzo, absolutely hosed up last time. It was at York, wasn't it? And it's got a bad draw here to overcome, but was the anti-post favourite. Did you... Are you thinking it was perhaps on value grounds you're against this, or do you just not like the horse?
I think it's just so competitive. The draw has put me off. I'm thinking 17.
Young Kieran Fallon on, another jockey that is Group 1 winner now
He
as
is.
well.
I think
Remarkable.
this horse is going to be good to win from 17. I think Maydani might even go off favourite here. What chance have I got of that being true, Neil?
Yeah, 7.2, so 6-1, and he is on the exchange market leader. I mean, there is a lot of flip-flopping going on between him, Cape Cavalli, 5th position. Tinandali and Bell Rock are the 2 weakest ones here, but Cape Cavalli and Maydani with a bit of 5th position is sort of
only been one outright favourite, chaps, that's won this over the last couple of years. Alfaris. 2 years ago.
Haggis?
It was a Haggis horse, now runs in Australia.
Yeah.
So look, if you're on a double figure price, do not be afraid to take a price in this race whatsoever.
It's interesting with Cape Cavalli because his form ties in with a horse that me and you, Dave, have mentioned on this show before, which is Sucellus, the Roger Fell one, right
You've
down
got
the
a thing
bottom.
about this horse, haven't you?
Yeah, I
wouldn't
think
say
he's-
obsession, but
No, I think he's got a race in him again. I'm not sure that this is probably a tad too competitive for him.
Ex-Gosden.
But, yeah, but he beat Cape Cavalli at Sandown last time, and not last time, last season. He's raced 4 times this season. His form figures are very unattractive, but you can probably forgive a couple of those runs in there. And I just think he's got a race in him.
Yeah.
Whether it's today, I'm not sure.
The Northern jockeys love riding for Roger Fell, don't they, Enzo? They absolutely love it. When he says, I've got a winner for you, they're all clambering to get on. Ben Curtis, I know, got a great association with him as well.
Yeah, he's done very well, hasn't he, Roger Fell? As you say, he started off slowly. He owned a few horses, first of all, went into training himself.
David O'Mara was one of his trainers,
Yeah,
wasn't
he was, yeah.
It was his yard as well. So
Yeah, and David, of course, as I think Neil mentioned, won this race last year. Big price, wasn't it? Fayez,
Yeah, 25.
25 to 1
it
last year.
snuck through, I remember. And that goes back to what Tom Segal said in the paper today. The most luck will win this race. I mean, it's going to be like a concertina. Are you ready to call them home?
Yeah,
That's the question.
I'm doing my best. I've got a few notes about the colours and things, so I'm ready to call them.
Really
I'll bring
interesting
you
thing.
in mid-race, shall I?
That would be lovely. Absolutely.
And Neil,
Yeah.
tell us what's happening in the market.
That would be great. The great thing about having Tony Ennis in is because when you hear him on the track, or indeed at Sky as well, he's got to play it with a straight bat. But let me tell you, when you're on with him on Sky and he's off air, it tends to get a little bit loud and a little bit crazy. So you can, whatever your money's on, and we know it's on Maydani here, if Maydani goes 2 clear entering the final furlong, Lord help us
Well,
all.
I just hope anyone who listened to us early on maybe got a bit of a price, because I think the price has been, ever since we've
It's
been
in
on...
free fall, man.
It's just
Yeah, 6.6, so he's into
the
11
power
to
to
2.
move markets, Neil.
Yeah, clear favourite now at the head of the exchange. So
It normally goes the other way. Normally I tip one up and it drifts like a barge, but
Well,
not this one.
you are a punter as well, though, Enzo. We should say that as well. I think we can reveal that. I don't think the wife's watching, is she?
In the old days, obviously used to bet a lot, but not so much these days. But listen, I think this horse, I'm just trying to help the viewers out there. I think he was a big price at 9 to 1. Obviously, that's gone now. Would I back him at 9 to 2, 5 to 1?
Is that what he's going to be? We want an outright fav here, and it looks like Maydani's going to win the
What
race.
price is he now?
6.6,
Yeah.
so 11 to 2.
If
on the
he's
exchange,
vying
yeah.
with 5th position for that position, who's wearing first-time blinkers, and he holds Tinandali, doesn't he? But I thought he pretty much had every chance in the York Cup. The one thing about these variant horses, especially when Andrea's on for He Who Must Be Obeyed, the Sheikh, that when they tend to gamble these handicappers, they tend to win, don't they? Let's face it, they've been working with group horses at home.
There has been a bit of money for an outsider here. You're hired for Amanda Perrott, so has been as big as 100. But
Cliff horse for me.
But generally been trading at around 50, 60s, but is into 30s.
I've got a
so
stat
quite a bit
for
of love
him.
for him.
I've got a stat, and I've just remembered it, so you have to bear with me. But when he finished second at the track last year, of course I was on him, he was basically so consistent at Goodwood. Amanda Perrott, a trainer that we associate, local trainer, of course. And I think apart from his reappearance a couple of years ago, he's never been out of the frame. So a couple of shrewdies jumping on.
Yeah, there's plenty of support for him in the win-only market as well, which is really interesting. So yeah, as big as 100 and into mid-30s now, 36, so around 35 to 1. The market is now about Maydani, who is really solid at the head of market, even a little bit shorter now, 6.4. Clear favourite.
Okay, so Enzo, look, I can see you've got a fair bit of,
Information.
apparel there, haven't you?
Yeah, what's going on? Cards.
It's all going on there, isn't it? You've got, what's this all
colours.
about? This is the first time someone's brought in
I tell what I use it for. When it's fillies in races, you've got to highlight them so you don't call her he or she.
So we've got
owners don't like that.
They're going in. We should say that. But just is that what you do when you rock up to a track?
I always
you
highlight
get your
the
pink highlighter.
pink highlighter to highlight the fillies.
Is it lucky pink highlighter? Has this been with you since you began on the commentators
It's my
roster?
school days, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, listen, you go all over the place, don't you? Commentating at Goodwood is
I've done it a
pleasure,
few times,
isn't it?
yeah. It's a great track to go to. Obviously, when you've got a crowd there, fantastic. I do a lot of Friday nights there during the summer. busy.
They're
big
in.
crowds.
They're
Right.
in. Good luck wherever you're going. I'm going to hand over to Tony Ennis for the 145. We've got Derivo just to go in. You've got just a quick reminder of the tips myself and Neil going for Tinandali. Maidani for Tony Ennis, who's about to roar them home in the opener.
Here we go. The Unibet Euron handicap is almost set mile, a quarter there off, and racing. Oh, a little bit slow to go there in the white and dark blue as Wargrave rather missed the kick. Derivo from a high draw is trying to come across as they race over 10. Maidani got away well towards the inside, the blue and white, and as expected will press on from stall 1 and lead for Sylvester. So it's the gambled on favourite. Maidani using front, a length clear to Sky Defender in second to Johnston, 1-2 at the moment. Just in behind them, walking the sand, Derivo is next. The grey further back is Restorer. A little bit further back, Red October and cheap pieces out wider of Bell Rock in the pink and green. And then behind those is fifth position, who's slightly keen, I thought, in midfield with Lawn Ranger. Yuri Gagarin's quite far back. Walking the Sand's got a good position in third place. Now looking for Tinandali, your fancy, about 2/3 of the way down the field.
On the inside there,
just ahead of, on the inside, Sucellus, the Roger Fell run, who's quite far back. Nicholas Tees towards the back, and also towards the back, one of the big fancies, Cape Cavalli.
Yeah, Kieran
He's got
Fallon.
about one behind, Dave.
He's got ice in his veins, Kieran Fallon Jr., hasn't he? He's been told, look, this has got loads in hand, obviously, still, and they're just starting to warm up now. Just they go around this lower bend, that's where we're expecting it to be slightly softer. But SDS in front, he's just Neil Hubbard, he's slowed it up. What's the market saying?
Yeah, 4.3, so he's 3-1. So punters are loving this.
3-1!
Yeah, strong at the head of the market.
Wow, Tony Ennis is getting excited. Let's go back for the call then. In the home straight they go.
Come on, Sylv. Right, he's in front. Maidani leads by a half to Wargrave. Walking the Sand is next. Still in behind is Sky Defender, the stablemate. Looking further back. Where are the moves coming from?
Tinandali catches the eye.
Fifth position's angled wide. Yuri Gagarin's extreme outside. Going well, Tinandali. Noseband, but needs to find a little bit of room, doesn't he?
Oh, here we go. This is where it gets tight. Cape Cavalli coming as well. Derivo bang there. Looking for Bell Rock. He's under pressure.
Maidani still just about in front. It's still a Johnston 1-2.
kicked.
Sky Defender in second.
Come on,
Sylvester got
Tinandali.
left. Maidani's got away.
Come on, Tinandali. You've got the run.
Sylvester's had a look.
Here he
Maidani's
comes.
clear
Oh,
still.
it's Maidani. Come on, Tinandali on the outside. Will he pick him up?
Tinandali,
Enzo, where are we going?
I don't think he's going to get there, Dave. is
Enzo,
he?
you've got this.
I
This is
think
absolutely
Maidani's hacked up,
routed
isn't it?
home. Unbelievable
Oh, easy.
scenes.
Competitive handicap, you said, is
Blown
one-way
apart.
traffic.
Oh, my goodness
Sylvester's
gracious me.
back.
Oh.
1-2 for Johnston, maybe. Close
Yeah,
for
I
second
think
with
so.
Bell Rock on the inside, flashing home. But Maidani's won. What a start. For Mark Johnston, Goodwood handicaps. How many times have I said that?
Unbelievable scene. I can't believe I composed you. It was too easy for you, wasn't it?
It's too easy this
You
game.
made your debut in the chair and you kicked
Tipped it up
home
at
a winner.
8-1. Was it 9.2 when I tipped it up on the
Yeah, and
exchange?
The one thing
Gone
you're
off
going to get
fives.
with Enzo during the show, he's not a modest chap. He never, whenever you're on Sky with him or anything like that, what you're doing, he likes to let you know when he's winning or losing, WhatsApp, text, and everything. But that was pretty straightforward, wasn't
It
it?
was.
He just got that breather in. It was lucky, I think,
When
that his
Sylv
stablemate
has
was
a little
against him.
sideways glance, he's got something. You get to
the
know
glint
jockeys.
in your eye was there.
When you had that little look about furlong out.
A huge day for Hamdan Al Maktoum, a huge week for Hamdan Al Maktoum. He's got the favourites of the last two races. The last time I looked, he has as well. Of course, he's got Mahatha tomorrow in the Sussex Stakes.
How easy is that one, though? It's won 6 hard held, isn't it?
Yeah, Dave Jennings was very keen on that. The Racing Post tipped when I spoke to him about it. Looks like Sky Defender is just...
Desperate with Bell Rock.
Was
Very
it a
close.
1-2
Bell
then?
Rock's thrusted.
Oh,
He's got close.
that's
might
tight.
be dead heat there. That was really
Derivo
close.
4th, Tinandali 5th,
Yeah.
Walking the Sand 6th, Restorer 7th, 5th position 8, Cape Cavalli 9, 10th was Sucellus.
He just flattened out a little bit, Tinandali, didn't he? He was the eye catcher in the run,
I
I
think you were
think.
getting very excited, Dave, and I just
couldn't
didn't
see
see
why,
I
could you,
didn't see he was
Tony?
going to make 5 legs up on Maidani. But listen,
Listen, well, I have to say, I wasn't sure if Maidani was going into that unknown stamina. You know, you weren't sure what he was going to have, were you? And like I say, he had to do a fair bit of running early on, but I think he got lucky that Sky Defender, his stablemate, was pressuring
yeah,
him.
it was a little bit. But
Because
what a,
nothing really took him on, did it? And okay, let's talk about the run then, Basie. A couple of disappointments. Cape Cavalli never really got going. Caught the eye to me about half a mile out, but he never picked up. Bell Rock, a bit of an eye catcher, I think, wasn't he?
yeah, Bell Rock's run a big race, isn't he? But again, he was drawn. If you look at I think Sky Defender has run a good race because he was drawn quite high, wasn't he? To get across, he probably used up a bit of petrol to get into second.
I think Derivo's ran well from 18. I'm just looking at this now.
He
the
had
winner,
to work hard, didn't he?
Yeah, so the winner come from stall 1. Who are we saying? Sky Defender or Bell Rock was basically on the nod,
know
wasn't
at
it?
the
But
moment.
they
You
were
said a
drawing-
1-2, just not to put your professional reputation up there, but you did call a 1-2
But
for
they were
Johnson.
drawn 13 and 4 respectively. 5th position was in 10. Walking the Sand was in 2. Derivo in 18. So a bit of a mixed bag in terms of the draw,
And
really.
again, a bit like what Paulie Keeley was trying to ram home to me earlier. You know, on the first 2 or 3 days, it's not as important. Certainly not over a mile 2. But yeah, Derivo has run really well, hasn't he? And you have to think there's a big handicap in here. Bell Rock, the more I look back at it, the more I like that. Where did your money go? How did you get on? How are your tips doing? We've had 2 races, one here on RP Live. Absolutely sensational stuff. The market's
If you look at the first so we just turned for home here, and the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first currently in the first 6. 5 of the first 6 finished in.
I think Maidan is one of those horses that, Neil, you probably correct me, but his prices went short, didn't it, throughout the race?
What's the story of the
race? He never went bigger than.
Exactly. It was in one respect, it was a really dull in-running race, really, because once Mendani...
What was he here about? What was he about? Funnel and a half out must have been...
Yeah, really short.
Odds on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, massively odds on. But I mean, his BSP was 6.2, so he went off at 5 to 1. And his price only went one way from there. And nothing else really got into it. I mean, Derivo hit a low of 4s in running, but that's not, nothing really there. Sky Defender, only a low of 9, which I suppose considering his SP was no bad effort. But it was a one-horse race, really.
Form-wise, so we've had 2 races so far at Goodwood. The meeting has started. The first for us here on RP Live. Again, you had to be handy. Tomorrow's Dream, the winner of the first. Always in what we call the box seat, just 2 or 3 off the leader, kicked a little way out, they're not coming back. There is a slight headwind apparently at Goodwood as well. That doesn't usually favour horses up the front, so I don't know if you're I did Cape Cavalli a bit of a disservice there. I said he was a bit disappointing. Actually, just in the corner of my eye when the chaps were talking there, I saw him running on a little bit. Maybe he was given that little
Same
bit
as
too much
Tinadali. Tinadali and Cape Cavalli came from miles back in comparison to those at the head of the field.
Tinadali, I won't give up on him because it's David O'Mara. He's so good at placing these horses, but that was only 10 days since
do you reckon he should
the
go up
John
in
Smiths,
trip?
wasn't it?
Do you reckon he should go up in trip?
Yeah, that's an interesting shout, actually. It's interesting how they hold him up so much. They must think he's slightly gassy early, don't they? But he's readily reversed that form with 5th position. That's probably the big disappointment of the race.
Yeah, 5th position. He doesn't look that straightforward, does he? He's obviously got talent, but...
the blinkers were on.
Yeah,
Too keen, wasn't he? You called it.
I don't know what his trip's going to be. Maybe even dropping back even further. But
Yeah.
just one of the winner. What happened at Newmarket last time has got to be a big question, isn't it? If you backed him at 4 to 6...
What happened there?
headquarters
That's weird. I mean, again,
it does happen, though, doesn't it?
I
Horses don't
mentioned
like certain tracks and...
that Tinandali had run only 10 days after the John Smiths Cup. With the season that we're having at the moment, myself and Neil have done a couple of these shows already, Enzo, and what is your take on all these horses turning out so quickly? People at the bounce factor are basically just not been able to have a bet this year, have they?
It's strange, isn't it? It's almost like a completely one-off season, this, isn't it? We just got to almost think completely outside the box and think totally differently.
You called it.
It's never in doubt.
You called it never in doubt, Tony Ennis. A 1-2 for Mark
Tip
Johnson.
the winner at 8 to 1.
Oh, the first big male handicap of the week. Yeah, set your clocks.
Sky Defender
Mark
got
Johnson's done it
second.
again.
Yeah.
So Bell Rock, big eye catcher for me, and Derivo did loads of work early. So Michael Stout as well. Perhaps you were getting some more places on a bookmaker as well. We think Tinandali was 5th. So there we go. We're off and running. 5 to 1 Fav. God, that was a real gamble, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Money went slightly astray on Tinandali, but we're going to be betting for charity again this week, Neil Hubbard.
Yeah. Anything we make over the course of the week, Racing Welfare will benefit from that. So hopefully we can land a few winners. I mean, he ran okay, Tinandali.
Yeah, he did.
He's not one to give up on. And maybe up in trip is an interesting thing to consider.
That was interesting. You said he did
what he did in the John Smiths Cup, really, didn't he?
A slightly dull market, you said, and it was. I don't know.
I mean, in running,
call, I was expecting you to get in a twist and a tangle. I was actually quite looking forward to it.
From an in
I
running
was thinking he's going to be in
perspective.
all sorts of problems here, and it was a bit too easy. Wasn't it?
Too easy, wasn't it?
And you have to say that Maidani now obviously has taken that apart. If he hadn't run since Royal Ascot, he would have been outright fab for that. Obviously,
yeah.
It goes back, doesn't it? Forgive a horse one run. Too bad to be true. If he'd have finished 3rd at Newmarket, the flop run in between Royal Ascot and this glorious Goodwood, you'd have gone, maybe he's...
I think it's Mark Johnson as well. I put his handicappers up £6 almost on their ratings when this meeting every year.
Yeah.
The thing is, Sky
Because
Defender as well. Sky Defender was one that we flagged up as a potential, at a big price.
He's had the 1-2, boys.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had 25 runners now in that race in the past decade. This is remarkable. And he's now had 4 winners, 7 places. So, look, it's just one of those, isn't it? And as we said pre-race, it almost gives you a little bit more confidence when they've disappointed slightly coming into Glorious Cup. They just take to it.
Certain tracks I don't like backing his horses at. For example, sometimes in York I don't like backing his handicappers at.
Lots been said about that, hasn't it?
But I love Goodwood, I like backing him at, especially Ascot obviously as well. He has winners in big handicaps there, particularly the staying handicaps.
Yeah.
Certain tracks I think you can just go in with them. Goodwood is the track for Mark Johnson, I think.
But why is that? Is there any rhyme or
Well,
reason?
time of year, I think, isn't it? This has obviously held its position in the calendar, isn't it? So
July's his month, isn't it? It's Johnson July.
Johnson July. I love it. Johnson July benefit. I'm trying to think. He has, of course, got one coming up in the next Vintage Stakes at 2:15. We're 15 minutes away from that now. Shall we move on then, gents, to this wonderful Group 2 for 2-year-olds, which was, of course, won by Pinatubo last year. Battleground. is now going down the same route, isn't it? Let's have a look at the market on the screen. The guys are going to put it up for us. Let's see exactly what Battleground is doing now, bearing in mind that the bookmakers have taken a bit of a hammering already after 2 races. Unsurprisingly, Neil Hubbard, he's around about the 6-4 mark.
Yeah, he's at the head of the market, 2.58. Devious Company, after his second in the Superlative Stakes, is next in at 9-2. Youth Spirit, 7.4. King Zane, 9. Dark Lion, 14.5. Painless Potter, 18s, and 30 or bigger the rest. Battleground, pretty solid at the top of the market. A little bit weak compared to how he was overnight, but very solid at the head of the market.
And where is Neil Hubbard playing?
Yeah, so I got Battleground wrong at Royal Ascot, because if you remember that I did put him up as a lay, and he was about the only one of Aidan's juveniles that actually did anything, and it just so happened to be the one that I opposed. But yeah, with these 2-year-old races, I mean, I think I'm not sure about the form of that Chesham. I think Devious Company, you could argue, should be closer to him in the betting. But,
certainly on form.
I'm actually going a bit further down the betting here and siding with the jumps trainer, Alan King, with Painless Potter. But I'm going to back him to be placed. And on the exchange, we have a Ranger market, so you can back him to be placed 3 places, 2 places, or we've got the extra option of backing 4 places. So I'm actually going to back Painless Potter around 8.5. So he's the same price as what Battleground is to win the race. But I'm going to back Painless Potter to finish in the first 4. So I've chosen 4 places. I've gone across 2.56, added to bet slip, and we'll have £25 on him there at 2.56 to finish in the first 4. So I'll confirm that bet. It's actually unmatched, but don't worry about that. What that just means is on the exchange, you're betting against other people. And at this point in time, there isn't anyone taking that other side of the bet. But we'll just leave that for the time being. And before we get to the off, we'll check back in and see what's happened to that bet. But
Neil
4
Hubbard
places.
has told you. OK, 4 places for Painless Potter. Now, is he talking absolute madness there, Enzo? Or, I mean, 6 of the last 7 favourites have won this race. Aidan O'Brien won it at the Hyde and Reel about 8 years ago, didn't it? War Decree, who is the one that we don't really remember.
Yeah.
But look, it's a race that can target. Are you slightly surprised he's come here to this race?
A little bit. I thought he'd have probably found something in Ireland for him personally, but he's obviously brought him across for this. It does look there for the taking, though, doesn't it? I've gone Youth Spirit. I just didn't want to go Battleground. It just looked a bit obvious around 5-4, 11 away. Was it?
You love an obvious one.
I know, but I just didn't want to go obvious this race.
It's your debut.
I could have just said Battleground and gone all the favourites, but no, I've gone against it. I've gone Youth Spirit. I thought that Newmarket Maiden that he won looked quite good.
Yeah.
I think Ashim spoke in glowing terms after this horse afterwards as well. Like the way he stuck to his task as well. He picked up a horse called Magical Land. Naval Crown, I thought, ran all right at Ascot, didn't he, at the weekend?
Yeah.
I think it's nothing brilliant, the form, but he's unexposed. He's by Camelot. I think he'll get a trip. Andrew Balding's having a great season. I thought Youth Spirit, what was he, around 6-1 earlier? I'm not sure what price is he.
7.6, so
it's still around
13 to
there.
2.
He's been put up by a few top judges, hasn't he? Tom Segal spearheading them, of course. From a speed peg perspective, he actually, believe it or not, he blows a lot of them out the water. That Newmarket run, albeit on soft ground, was
hot maiden.
pretty. It's traditionally a hot maiden at the July course, isn't it? He's got an official rating of 88. Don't worry about that with Andrew Balding. What a season we know he is having. Classic winner and winners all over the place. Oisin Murphy takes the ride. Do you know what? I expected him to get backed. Because let's face it, Battleground won what we think was a substandard Chesham, albeit very, in commanding
It's not his
style.
fault, it wasn't.
Quite right. And he obviously came into it with the 5th next to its name, which is something they love to do in a Chesham. Give something a run, in a maiden, get it sharpened up, get its mind on it, and then go and absolutely have it in the Chesham. He's drawn in 7. I would slightly worry about that more for Youth Spirit. 10 runners, of course. And over the 7, I just watched it back. It was only 18 days ago that we were already talking about on the show about horses having to back up a little bit quickly. While Andrew Balding, I know, likes his horse a great deal, I'd be worried about him getting caught a little bit wide. Maybe around about 6-1. It is. I think that's probably the right price for him.
Yeah.
So I can see why you would like that. I have to say,
even if it's an each way perspective, I thought to be placed even on the Betfair place market would be a way I'll play it, because I don't think he can be out the 3 here. I mean, look at some of the others.
He's 11-8, finished in the first 3.
Yeah, that could almost appeal.
Pretty
that
much
does appeal.
Same price as Battleground to win the race, and you've got 3 chances of winning, haven't you?
If you look back in your members club, exactly Youth Spirit's run, when winning 18 days ago on the July course, half a furlong out, it looks like it's going to be quite cosy. He is just tying up slightly in the line, and I watched it thinking, I've got one here, I've got one. that can take Battleground on. It was just a little bit of a harder run than I thought it was going to be. What about Devious Company then? A word for him, Neil.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good run last time out at Newmarket, wasn't it? Behind in the Superlative Stakes, Master of the Seas. I think there's a case for saying that is probably as good a run, if not better than Battleground in winning the Chesham.
Yes, well, the sixth or the fifth, I should say, Ventura Tormenta came out and won the Group 2 Robert Papin Chantilly. So look, the form looks really pretty good, doesn't it? And it's this race really, I think, if you like Battleground, you have the faith that he is going to improve a lot off that Chesham run. If he doesn't, it's going to look like a stinking price. Let's get a social comment on the screen. More are coming in. What have we got? Joseph Baker, fancy Battleground in the next. Look huge at Ascot. He is a whopper, I've got to say. P.S. At least your season ticket will be cheaper next year. The first Watford mention. OK, let's get that out of the way. The poor Hornets have gone sinking down, unlike my bet in this, which will be Battleground. So, Joseph Baker, I am with you. I think the Fab will just probably go and win this.
Just got to mention very quickly, Babo's boy refused to race in that opening race. I don't know if anybody who backed him. I'm not sure if he's deemed a runner or not. I'm still trying to find out. I just noticed
I didn't miss
that he was...
You're doing the housekeeping today, are you, as well?
He's got a big RR, which is refused to race on the comments.
No, that's not good, is it? Paul Keeley's tipping that. Paul's not... I'll tell you what, I was with Keeley this morning. He's on the show on Saturday, Paul Keeley. What on earth can go wrong there? And he was saying to me, I need that big Saturday winner. I need to get over the line a little bit. Since racing was up, so I'm not there. Oh, Gills, if you're watching, Babo's boy, what on earth was that all about? So we'll find out if that was indeed a runner, because people would have been backing it. Shall we see what Keeley thinks about this race? The Vintage Stakes.
Battleground did me a favour at Royal Ascot when winning the Chesham Stakes, but I'm not sure the form is any good. In fact, most of the horses who ran in the race since have been beaten. The only one who scored won at 2-9 by a short head in a match. He's the rightful favourite, and he could improve for Aidan O'Brien, but he's a short price on what he's done. I'm going to take a chance on Painless Potter for Alan King. He's only run twice. He finished 5th in the Coventry last time out, doing all his best work at the finish. He's guaranteed to improve for 7 furlongs. Obviously, Alan King could have given him an easier option, but he's going back into Group Company, which suggests he really likes him. And King, though he's best known for his jumpers, is an excellent flat trainer.
He's agreeing with the Hubbard. Unbelievable. Painless Potter. So before we move on to a couple of the others, Painless Potter, I covered his debut run at Kempton by the Mark Johnson horse, who's since gone in again, having disappointed at Royal Ascot. It screamed like it was going to be 7 furlongs. I was therefore surprised they didn't go Chesham with him. And they ran him in the Coventry, didn't they? He's going to improve, isn't he, for this, as Keeley says?
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting as well that unlike, say, with Dark Lion, who had a similar, say, sort of profile, but Roger Varian chose to give him another run at Wolverhampton. I like the fact that Alan King has kept Painless Potter relatively fresh from Ascot and is coming right here, because he looks nailed on to win a novice or a maiden, right? Yeah. So he could have done that between now and then, but the fact they've just kept the powder dry with him just suggests to me that they think he's probably half decent. And he wouldn't have the normal sort of profile, shall we say, in terms of trainer, owner, whatever, that you would normally associate with the more leading lights in a race of this nature. And that's why I think you can probably just get a little bit of a bigger price than perhaps you would do otherwise.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, 14's, sort of 14, 16 to 1 for a horse that's going to improve, drawn 2. Martin Harley on as well. It's good to see Martin Harley back, isn't it, Enzo? He was down in Australia, which kind of went under the radar a little bit, went to Hong Kong as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's split out in Hong Kong. I think he had a very quiet time of things to start off with there. Had a couple of winners towards the end of the meet. Very good rider, though, isn't he? I mean, he's picked up. He was always had an association with Alan King before he went away. He's picked that association back up again. Yeah, he's a good rider. I think his horse has got a chance, definitely making the frame. King Zaneswell, I've not really talked about much.
We need to, because Frankie Dettori rocks
Mark
up.
Johnston. So, I mean, you couldn't have a better jockey and trainer, could you, for this track, really?
And I think we can forgive that superlative run, can't we, behind Devious Company slightly. It was unlike a Johnson run, wasn't it?
It was, but yes, again, it's that sort of form, isn't it? That we saw the previous winner bounce back from a bad run at that meeting, so I'd forgive it that. Looked good when he won on the all-weather, didn't he, at Kempton? He was dropped in, wasn't he, in the superlative? Didn't seem to work those tactics. So
Johnson's had 10 runners in this race in the last decade, 2 places and 1 winner. Can you remember the winner?
Dark Vision.
It was Dark Vision. Who was
in his colour, in his racing
the rejuvenated Dark Vision this year.
Yeah, I called him home at Ponty the other day. When
yeah,
he won.
right.
A bit lucky
Messy
to
race.
Stewards, maybe.
Well, absolutely, yeah, quite right. But he showed something that day, I think, that he hasn't in his locker. I think the reason why people were opposing him in that race at the skinny odds was because they thought, front runner's track and he might wind up too late.
He looks like a big field horse to me, Dark Vision.
Coming off a pace or whatever, doesn't he? Yeah.
When he won this vintage stakes 2 years ago under SDS, do you remember he did everything wrong and came from right out of the back, circled the whole field, thought it was going to be a world beater that day, just completely lost his way as a 3-year-old basically. But some really good horses have won this. Expert Eye, Highland Reel as I mentioned, Olympic Glory, what a good horse he was for the Hannons, which hadn't seen, he used to farm this vintage stakes. War Decree, who we mentioned, he sort of lost his way a little bit, but there is a classic winner in there in Hugo Palmer's a Galileo Gold, of course, as well. So look, top race, Pinatubo as well, we know last year, exciting stuff.
Sir Percy won it as well, Derby winner.
Blimey, now you're going back, aren't you?
But in terms of classic winner, Sir Percy.
Marcus
Chamadal,
Dragoning.
He won a French Derby, French Guineas, did he?
Chamadal won this, did he? I mean, you're going right back now, aren't you? Okay, I've got French 10 years here. You've got 20 years here. Something like, it's hard to remember, isn't it? We'll get to some of the others in a minute, because there are some other fairly interesting horses in there as well. Mark Johnson's got another one out there as well. Thunder.
Garitas, where do you stand with those horses being renamed after old classic named horses like...
Who was Garitas?
It was Dick Herden horse, but Willie Carson used to ride.
Only you'd know that. You wouldn't remember Garitas, would you?
Bizarrely enough, only because I was listening to a podcast on the way down, and I was listening to his story about how he won Champagne Stakes or the ACOM or at York, and he was wide margin winners of them all, and then went to the Guineas and never really...
Live for the now, boys. Live for the now. We can't go looking back. Dick Hearn got a mention on the show. Unbelievable. Garitas, Tom Marcondo, Richard Fahey. We should give him a mention. Richard Fahey is more than capable of having a top 2.
He stepped up as well. If you look at his record last week, Richard Fahey hit form, didn't he? Good winners at the weekend. His horses run really well.
Such a slow start after racing resumption. I think he had something like 4 winners from his first 90
He's buzzing
runners.
now, though. I mean, a few yards
Buzzing
coming
now.
in. Tim Easterby, Richard Fahey coming back into a bit of form.
He's got
now.
that decent filly that won at Sandown that finished second to Dandala, Fevrova. She looks like a real.
But this thing was,
like
I was quite impressed with this Garitas win at York, because he was sort of buried away mid-pack, and he was sort of being like bustled along a little bit, but without the jockey getting massively serious with him. He just kept responding.
14 to 1 on debut, and
yeah, he's probably pretty decent.
There has been a nursery now, of course, so they can have the the nurseries are just about to join the party.
There's one later on
actually?
today, I think, isn't there? There's one once we're gone off air, I think, or later
one
on
up
anyway.
It's usually Glorious Goodwood where they start, but there once one sneaks in at Newmarket. It's always a nightmare that when you're getting ready in the racing post analysis at department, like where do they start this year? Sometimes
This whole year is so
sometimes it's good. It's just mad.
When was the first 7 furlong 2-year-old race? Normally they're set in stone, aren't they?
We had one in the first week, didn't we?
When the first 7 furlong 2-year-old race is, but this year it's totally...
Talking about
Rip it all
racing's
up.
first week, we had a horse that ran in racing's first week, Dark Lion for Roger Varian.
Yeah.
He ran on the 4th of June. He was a 2-1 favourite in the Newmarket meeting. And it was a bit disappointing there, but he wasn't beaten at all far in the Coventry Stakes, ahead of Painless Potter, and then he made very hard work, didn't he? I think of winning what we might say just like a modest sort of Wolverhampton race.
I think his run on debut was fine, because if you can remember back, that came at Newmarket.
There was a big word for him that day, wasn't there?
There was. He went off Fav, and the winner that day came up that Golden Rail, and Dark Line didn't. But he backed that up with a decent effort at Ascot. And as I say, like they then elected to get a win under his belt. Maybe, I don't know, like maybe they felt he needed the experience, something like that, before coming to a track like this. I don't know.
Well, when you're running in a Coventry on his second start and you do make the frame, you're going to get a mark in the 90s, aren't you? So that must have been experience, I think. He actually went clear that day, I remember, and the horse in second. I'm not sure how that's gone on.
Yeah, he ran on, and it probably looked... Or like the winning distance probably suggests it was closer than perhaps his actual dominance in the race.
There's a horse called Knight Salute who came out and won next time. So
they were miles clear as well, I think.
Roger Varian, if you're reading your members club, he's picking up your Racing Post this morning. We like him a lot. And this is a guy that seriously knows the time of day with 2-year-olds. Just watching him going down the start then. Battleground looks well enough himself. A little bit sweat between the legs, but going to be a muggy day down there at Goodwood. So what? We're around about, it says we're a minute away, but we're a good 5 minutes away, I would imagine, from this. So we're running slightly over. What's your take on the stall handlers, Enzo, since racing resumption and times in general, from a commentating perspective?
I think it'd be pretty good. I think we've had a few obvious delays, but we've had some horses that haven't been going at the stalls very well. We've had a few. I think I had one up at Ripon. We've had 2 withdrawn horses at the start. Again, just a couple of horses misbehaving, but I think the handlers all in all done a great job, haven't they? Getting these difficult horses in, especially with
only 2 allowed. And
do
you think that should change now? Because some of the trainers have been calling for that, haven't they? I read Eve Johnson Halton was saying one of her horses was stuck in the stall for the best part of 10 minutes before running, muscle injuries, things like that. It turned out that was a 25-run 2-year-old race. It should be said so.
It's unfortunate, isn't it? I think you do get favoured by going in as late as possible, don't you? You think sometimes.
Yeah,
These
you can
horses
get
that go in
tickets, of
first.
course. You remember in the Guineas, Charlie Appleby said, "I've bought a ticket for Pinatubo because we're not, we weren't sure about him towards the end of his career. He was showing maybe a little sign of being a little bit rusty in the stall. So you can get tickets, but I think you can only get so many as the
Yeah,
season
you
goes
can't all
on.
go
for
in
us.
last, can you? That's the thing. Everyone wants to go in last.
Everyone wants to go in last, yeah, because they could just get muscle injuries and lose a bit of focus. They could get a bit restless, get a bit heads up as well. Certainly from a punting perspective, I think if you see your horse has been in there for a long time, it definitely tempers your enthusiasm.
Fountain
So-
Cross Hood on the way to the start here. We've seen that quite a lot recently, haven't we?
Talking about this, yeah. So you've
see a lot
had
of
the
it.
luxury of going to the track since since lockdown and racing's resumption. All these new hoods on the way down.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Charlie Appleby have runners with it, John Gosden. A lot of trainers are using them. These red hoods
Earplugs,
on the way down at the start.
obviously, which are not so visible, but it's a calming influence,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and obviously they take it off once they're at the start. Obviously they wear them during the race. And they do announce it on the racecourse, to be fair. Obviously nobody at the racecourse to take it in, but they do announce it
Well, the connections
beforehand.
there. We
that
should
it's gonna
say
happen.
that this Saturday sees the return of racegoers to the track. Happy days, Glorious Goodwood. Perfect place to do it because they've got such a big annual membership. So 5,000 allowed into the track on Saturday. And we will talk about this as it goes on, but I've been chatting to lots of racing fans about how this might look for racing. And racing does have a chance, doesn't it, to go back to the old school. If you've ever been in, the Royal Ascot enclosure itself, the very posh one, you go in there basically, and it's like there's no one there. But you go out to one of the main bars, and you can't. It's sort of 10 deep, isn't it? That's going to have to change now, Enzo, isn't it? So racing could just get back to the days of when actually being an annual member really meant that.
Yeah, I think so. I think limited crowds is a good thing. I think it's a step in the right direction. I think obviously bookmakers on course have had a hard time of things with losing their business. That's been brought back as well this week, isn't it? With I think it's the debit card only betting to start off with, which is going to be interesting. But yeah.
Again, let's touch on that then quickly. I mean, it's not ideal, is it? And why is that?
I think it's the whole thing about cash betting, isn't it? On the course, the bust of the ring. It's just not the same sort of thing, is it? I don't think. Cash and card, it's just...
And people seeing with the bank statements and things like that, isn't it? Tenner here, tenner there, tenner there.
If you have eight races cards, you're going to have eight transactions,
Enzo
aren't you?
bet taking all over your bank statements. It's not ideal, is it? So the bookmakers, I think, got a very good point there. But it's a perception thing, Neil, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, and I think if you go into any, if in these current times, if you go and try and do any transaction anywhere, if you go and buy petrol, you go and do shopping,
Nobody
you go
wants
and
cash
do
there,
whatever,
because
it's all contactless. So I think it's just an extension of what society is currently adjusting to.
Yeah,
really.
racing's done remarkably well. It's been the sport, hasn't it? I think overall, where the perception and the biosecurity, it's just been absolutely fantastic spectacle. We've got more audience than we thought we'd ever have. Where is your money going in this race? The Vintage Stakes 215. We're already 3 minutes over, and we are still not even down at the start. Daz Reynolds joins the show. Good to have you, Daz. Battleground to win. Loads of confidence about Battleground, the monster Battleground. Connor's aviation videos soaring in with "Come on, Devious Company." Lots of tips to put that up at the start of the week. We've got one more as well, I think. Great to see Toby Charlton also with us. Hi, Toby. Reckon Devious Company. Why aren't we liking Devious Company
I
here,
mean,
boys?
he won his first two. Did he just... I don't know, just think something might improve past him, maybe? Possibly.
Tom Dascombe's comments in the paper this morning, he said how much improvement is there to come. And actually, Tom, I thought, summed it up once again rather well. The race revolves around how much the imposing Battleground has improved.
Yeah, and he's weak on the exchange. He's out to 9 to 5 now, so he's out to 2.8.
What's Battleground now on the exchange?
2.8.
2.8 now. What's Stevie's company?
He is 5.4. I guess the one for a bit of money is probably King's Aim, which I guess the punter's jumping onto the Mark Johnson bandwagon perhaps a little bit there.
This is Frankie's first ride of the day.
I didn't see him in the previous, was he?
didn't see him in the previous. Yes, it is, said Rob Lee, I think, in the gallery there. The boys in the gallery doing a great job throughout the week as well. Dan Walsh and Elliot Hackney are here with us. We're going to be with you all 5 days of Glorious Goodwood. Welcome to Racing Post Live. If you've just joined us on Facebook or YouTube, the social channels, you can get in there on Twitter as well. Great to have the social comments coming in. How are you finding it so far, Enzo?
Yeah, enjoyable so far. I mean, obviously the pressure's off now. The first winner, I can just sit back.
You
relax,
can sit
enjoy
back
it.
and even if he goes 7 straight losers, now the wife's not going to go too mad, is she? Well, perhaps, maybe not that many.
Pulled up stumps after that one, May Daddy. But listen, we're going to try and press it up. We're going to go youth spirit. I watched him going down. He looked really relaxed, actually.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, very, very nice and calm to the start. Looks quite a nice sort. I think he's going to have that blend as well of speed and stamina, which I think you need for this race.
Should we talk about pace in the race? I'm trying to get my pace map, as I like to call them, up. To wait till you to get to the 3:45 later on RP Live, the 5 furlong sprint. Have you ever seen a race with more front runners in the race? On the run styles so far, well, obviously Devious Company, Richard Kingscote, Tom Dascombe, they like to get on with it. Drawn 6, he's going to be up there, so Battleground will be looking Ryan Moore to maybe tag onto him. I think King Zane might just bounce back.
I think one of Johnston's will be up there.
Thunder of Niagara.
Probably.
A debut winner from stall 10 who flopped last time out. So, again, being, unconsidered in the market, but it's Joe Fanning, is it? It's going to be like a Sky Defender type run. Neil Hubbard, what's the market saying as they go into the stalls?
Yeah, Battleground's come in a little bit from that 9 to 5, so he's back into 7 to 4. Punters can't really make their mind up about him. If you think he was 2.4 overnight, he's gone out to about 2.8, he's back into 2.7, so he's sort of like going up and down the ladder, really. But he is very solid. It's not like he is being challenged for favouritism at any point. So it is all about Battleground at the top of the market.
Thank you, Neil. 2 more to go in. Dark Lion still out the back. Dark Vision was here. We all know what would happen. Okay, so what have we got? Who was the first to go in? Not so sure. But yeah, just Dark Lion and over to Tony Ennis for the 2.15. Is it 2.15? It's supposed to be 2.15. It's 2.20. But it is the Vintage Stakes.
It is. You'd have bought minutes late off, wouldn't you, this week? Yeah. Dark Lion is going to be the last one to go in.
You're happy with that comment, are you?
Yeah. Ready niche to go. Spread betting reference. But yeah.
And away they go. Oh, Bessie at the start. Youth Spirit slightly inconvenienced. He got knocked, didn't he, by Dark Lion, who took a step to his right, leaving the stalls. But they are racing for this Vintage Stakes over 7. And as expected, it's Thunder of Niagara who's come across to lead. So Mark Johnston 1-2 again, because King Zane's going to sit second, Garitas third. Without cover, Devious Company, the blue and yellow Painless Potter's handy. Looking for the favourite. Where is he? Battleground. A bit worse than midfield.
Yeah.
Outside of Dark Lion, he's got the Rag, Kraken Power on his inner. And I'm afraid Ashie Murphy and Youth Spirit right towards the back of the field.
Yeah, that draw's really scupping him, I think, so far. If I had to be on one at the minute, I think Frankie Dictating tells you exactly what you're going to see for the pace of the race. Richard Kingscote will not be happy. In fact, he's moving up now. Garitas, Tom Marcon in a great sit. And it looks to me, Neil Hubbard, like Battleground's full of himself in running.
Yeah, well, just when you started talking there, Dave, King Zane was favourite on the exchange, but actually Battleground's gone back to favouritism now, so he's clear favourite again. But King Zane is the one who's changed most in running.
3 furlongs out, Tony Ennis.
Yeah, Ryan's coming now, isn't he? Here he comes Ryan with a run to come and tackle Devious Company, who's hit the front.
Here we go, Battleground. Come on, let it go.
Here's
let
Ryan.
This go.
Oh, this could be anything.
Let
Battleground has got to the front. Whoosh.
Come on, we
past
need to watch Devious Company's the only one that can get him, surely.
Oh, I think you should
have running on here.
Yeah,
come on, he's not doing a great deal.
Battleground, you'd expect him to stay on, wouldn't you? Being out of found, you'd expect him to get the
Ryan Moore is absolutely kitchen sinking this.
Yeah, Battleground, winning favourite, nice one. Devious Company second. Thought Youth Spirit ran well, so we got the place betting 11-8 for Youth Spirit in third, but a bit unlucky at the start, but a worthy winner. Well done to Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore.
The My Racing nap was, of course, Battleground. We said at the top of the show, well done to the guys at My Racing. 13-8 Industry SP, slightly better than expected. Took it out a long way up, Neil Hubbard, didn't he? Didn't do a great deal. Did the market react?
Yeah, so he hit 3.9 in running, which I guess is when they sort of came around that home bend as such. He sort of looked like he got bumped a little bit wide, didn't he? And he hit close to 3-1 there in running.
It got a little bit messy in behind, didn't it? We'll get back to that. Around about 2 furlongs out, Tony. Garitas got a bit of a knock. Looking for a couple of others as well. I'll tell you what, the Kraken Power, the Rag, got no run whatsoever. And Painless Potter on the inside didn't look like he got the best of the run. But again, a slightly uneventful finish for you. Had it easy again, didn't it?
It was. I'll tell you what, Youth Spirit's better than this, isn't he? He got done at the start. He got broadsided. He's run on all right. I think I'll mark him up.
Yeah.
The winner's obviously quite good. Garitas I'll put forward.
We've had our first mark him up of the day.
Well, I think if you watch back the start, he's sort of got sandwiched a little bit with Battleground coming one way and Dark Line coming the other, and Ashie Murphy sort of had to take the medicine and just sort of
to go that far back in the
no,
first furlong.
If you watch it back here, he looks like he gets sort of sandwiched between them. Look,
they come across and
he has to snatch up a little bit. Look, he has to take his medicine and then drop in and come across, really.
Disappointment was King Zane. He went out like a light, didn't he? He was like travelling, he went out like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, they held him up in the superlative, didn't they? They've gone from the front this time. I think we hopefully called the pace for you out there. Once again, it was a Johnson 1-2. They were up there, Thunder of Niagara.
They've both weakened a lot, though, haven't they, the two Johnson runners? They're probably not up to this level, maybe.
Absolutely. Probably are looking at handicappers, aren't we? Talking about up to this level, horse at 104, Devious Company. What a lovable horse he's turning into, because he's not had a great passage.
No cover either. I think Richard wanted a bit of cover, didn't he, to the outside. He had to race up on the outer in the breeze, as they say in America.
In the breeze.
So he's had to do a lot of work, and he's got there, and he's bumped into a horse that's probably quite a strong stayer, isn't he? Battleground. He looks like he'd get a mile already.
Let's have a look at the result on screen then. Yes, indeed, Battleground beats second favourites and third favourites. So once again, market's absolutely right at Glorious Goodwood. If you're following the money, what a day you're having so far, and so much more to come your way. Stradavarius, of course. Let us know what you think about him. Hashtag RP Live, and loads of social comments. Loads of you on Battleground out there. What an SP. Were you expecting that? Let's talk about Battleground then. Going to go the Pinatubo route. There's plenty of races. Phoenix. National Stakes.
Stakes.
So, national, that's the one, isn't it? Of course. He'll go there. He looks like a 4-year-old, doesn't he? He's massive.
He looks like even think about the Dewhurst already. When the end of the year of the mile, I think he looks like he'd get
It's
a
the
mile this year.
Pinatubo route.
Racing, the Virtum Futurity maybe, or the Dewhurst over 7.
I think he'd be a Dewhurst horse. I think Aidan has others, doesn't he, for that Virtuum Futurity?
Yeah, the more Derby types.
Yeah.
This is a miler through and through, isn't he? But honestly, the head-on we're watching on screen.
But this Aidan will be like, because he's out of Found, obviously, they're brilliant race mare as well. That'll give him an extra kick.
Winner, absolutely superb breeding, and David Jennings has, for the RP, long been saying this is their 2-year-old jewel in the crown.
It's actually one for the pedigree watchers so far, because the winner of our first race was Dubarry out of Attraction. And then this is Warfront out of Found. So bred in the purple.
Blue-blooded, yeah. Okay, I love it, absolutely. And I just look back at that run of Devious Company, and he's just going to be, he will get his group race, won't he, I think, when they're away from the absolute superstars. And again, the placed horses you can mark up. And Battleground, do you think he'll still have his detractors because he didn't go absolutely Pinatubo clear?
I don't think he's got that push-button acceleration that Pinatubo had, is it? I think he's more, I wouldn't say a grinder, that's probably doing him a disservice. I think he's a strong stayer. He's got one steady run, isn't he?
The way that he
that sort of
made up his ground, though, from 3 to 2 out was quite... I was like, I get it,
and he
really.
got a bit warm as well. He was sweating up a bit beforehand too, so obviously I think there's more to come.
He's actually well on top as well by the
Yeah.
end. Actually, when we were watching it first off, it looked like that he just sort of edged out Devious Company, but actually, on reflection, looking back, he was massively on top. And I think just when they came around that home bend, he's such a big horse, he perhaps just got a little bit unbalanced there on the track. So that experience would have done him the world of good if we're talking things like Dewhurst and ultimately Guineas next year.
So 7 of the last 10 favs had one. Mark that up, that's 8 out of 11. It's a race where punters really can latch onto the superstar in the race potentially and just,
Yeah, and punters love Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore at these big meetings, 2-year-old races. I mean, a few obviously got sunk at Ascot, didn't they, this year? This was one that did win at Ascot, but...
pressure's off a little
punters
bit now.
Love it, Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore favourite.
Santiago to come, of course, in the Goodwood Cup, the Group 1 of the day, the Goodwood Cup. Are you with Stradavarius, giving just over a stone to the 3-year-old? That's interesting, isn't it, as well, Tony? On August the 1st, the new weight for age differential comes in. They're claiming back £2. John Gosden in Members Club this morning, basically, in his quote, said, over 2 miles, £2 can make a big difference. Where do you stand on that? And where do you stand on Gosden and his comments? A lot of people think he likes to create the drama, doesn't he, Gosden? He knows what he's got. And Abel, how good was she in the King George on Saturday? Let us know what you thought about that. But a word for Stradavarius, first and foremost, against Santiago?
Stone and 1, it's a lot, isn't it? A lot of weight to give away.
You're not sure?
I've tipped him up when we had to do our selections top of the show. I've gone with Stradavarius. I think he'll win it. But he didn't have much to beat. Look, he was brilliant at Ascot, wasn't he? But he didn't have a great deal to beat. And when he's won...
Nayef Road who reopposes.
Nayef Road. And look at last... He just kept beating DXB in cross-counter, didn't he, last year? I don't want to knock him because he's a champion.
Well, people were knocking it.
But, we know he can beat cross-counter and DXB. We knew that. And he just kept doing it. But it wasn't his fault.
Listen, this horse can run in a Coronation Cup, can't he, and finish third. Moral second, I think we can call him that day. Neil Hubbard, you're with Stradavarius?
He tends to race a touch lazily, or the market certainly suggests he does in plays.
He was super smooth, wasn't he, this year in the World Cup?
He was, but he actually went out big in the need for money. Can you remember when he turned for home and Frankie moved his goggles and the market spiked out and he went out to like 11 to 10 just because he moved his goggles? He had a look for technician,
didn't he? That was what happened in the Gold Cup. And when he saw he was struggling it was happy days. Yeah. It was like coming up the Cheltenham Hill, wasn't it?
It's interesting because actually the last horse to win this as a 3-year-old getting the lumps of weight was Stradavarius when he toppled Big Orange. So... there is the potential for him getting a taste of his own medicine in.
Today,
absolutely.
His toughest battle yet, says John Gosden on the front of the page. That is what are we around about 3:15, I think, isn't it? We've got another social coming in. Let's have a look on the screen. Great to have you. Joseph Baker comes back. Having got the money from Battleground, he goes to Space Blues and Stradavarius to finish off a nice treble for the first day.
Space Blues, you with him again?
I'm against him.
Yeah, me as well. I thought he was gifted that race in France. And the Haydock win was good, wasn't it? I thought James Law gave him a really good ride when he beat Safe Voyage. But I don't know about the French form beating Dubai. I thought that was a bit of a strange race.
Well, we are talking about, of course, the Lennox Stakes, one of my favourite races of the whole week, over the 7 furlongs. Again, we'll give you comparable times as we're going on. That's what you get here on Racing Post Live. Real-time analysis, real-time reaction. We have no idea what's going to happen. Let's go to the market and see exactly what's happening there. And we'll see whether Space Blues is the friend of the punters again. I guess with the market's leaders doing so well, Neil Hubbard, he's really solid.
Yeah, he's really solid at the head of the market. So he was bigger than 3-1 when betting opened here, but he's into 3.3, which is around 9-4. So he's been backed from the opening show, and he's really solid at the head of the market. Then Duke of Hazzard, who's a bit of a Goodwood specialist, next at 6. Safe Voyage, who looks absolutely rock solid, you have to say, 6.8. And Sir Dancelot going for the hat trick here at 7.6.
Yeah, I'm loving this race. This is so much to talk about here. We've got 15 minutes to do so before we go into dissecting the form and all the runners. Neil Hubbard?
Yeah, so we put in our selections the day before, and my selection was Space Blues because he was a much bigger price than what he currently is now. But I'm actually a real big fan of the horse. I think he's really good. He's got a couple of bits of Group 1 form from last year, which to me would put him ahead, like head and shoulders above the rest of these in there. So I'm not going to change my bet. I'm going to stick with him, and it's just going to be a simple win-only bet on Space Blues. So he's 3.3, which is 9-4. So we're going to select that, add it to your bet slip, and we'll have £25 on him, win at 3.35.
You're talking about the Derville form, aren't you? Too darn hot and advertised, surely.
Yeah, so he's got some Group 1 form from last year, which most of these don't have. And he's done everything that's been asked of him so far this year. Granted, I take on board what Enzo's saying about his last run. But I think he's just like the class horse in here, really. Albeit, though, I don't think you can necessarily put off, if you fancied 3 or 4 of these, like next in the market, Duke of Hazzard, Safe Voyage, Sir Dancelot, I think there's plenty of ways you can probably play this on the exchange if you wanted. For example, Safe Voyage is around even money to finish in the first 4. That looks a very solid sort of bet because he is one of those horses you can hang your hat on, really.
Second to Space Blues at Haydock on his return, of course. It's hard to see the form being reversed. I love Safe Voyage, though. What's not to love about him? Haydock specialist, but Epsom last time really showed some guts, didn't he?
Course record, sorry.
Course record.
John Quinn does well, doesn't he? A horse like Liberty Beach and him, he gets them right for these big days down
Liberty
south.
Beach.
But look, I like Duke of Hazzard. Look at his Goodwood form, Dave. He's never lost here. 3 out of 3. I know he's been winning a mile, but I think a strongly run 7. He's going to have that finishing kick. I think he might just worry Space Blues out of it late on. David Probert, I think, is brilliant. Well drawn as well. He's in 6.
You love Probert, don't you? He's a pal. He's on. You've got him on text, haven't you? I know you've pestered him on course, and he's finally been worn down and become your friend.
Yeah, it took a while. A lot of
it really did.
Hanging around outside the weighing room for many meetings, but David's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's finally beginning to sort of fly. I think he's 30 now, isn't he? He's really flourishing. He was joint champion apprentice with William Buick, wasn't he, that year? And obviously, he's taken a bit of a while to hit that top
Came
gear.
from Baldings as well, didn't he?
He's getting big rides now, though, isn't he? In big races.
Yeah, absolutely. And Paul and Oliver Cole, this father and son combination, are using him to great effect. And he rode this chap last time behind Mohatha.
Good form, isn't it?
Really strong form. Mohatha, great chance tomorrow in the Group 1 Sussex Stakes. I'm with you. I like Duke of Hazzard. I put him up as a horse to follow this season. The ground was all wrong for him in the Queen Anne on his return. Showed it last time exactly what he's all about. The one slight thing that put me off about going absolutely head down nap was the ground. Now that it's dried out slightly, got no problems whatsoever. He has gone really, really close on.
He's that sort of horse that might trade bigger in the run because obviously he's got.
He needs to be ridden for a little bit of luck. Do you remember when he won at the meeting last year? It was a fantastic ride.
He comes late.
That day. It would have been PJ McDonald.
He comes late, so I think he might trade a bit bigger in the run, but don't let that put you off because he's going to be finishing strong. He's just got that great course form, good draw as well. Space Blues, look, he's the right favourite, but just question that form. I know he beat Safe Voyage well at Haydock. Stall 10 as well, a little bit wider than ideal. Pierre Lapin, what do we think of him?
Peter Rabbit.
Oh, he ran awful, didn't he? Everyone was talking him up for the Commonwealth Cup like it was a good thing, and he ran abysmally.
He is a fascinating horse in this race, isn't he? Roger Varian could do with a fillip, that's for sure. After only 3 races, Roger's horses haven't quite run up to expectations so far. That also happened at Royal Ascot, of course, you'll remember. And towards the end of the week, he could do literally no wrong. Peter Rabbit, my goodness,
I don't like him.
Mate.
Horrible draw. Racing Post says impossible to write off. I've written him off. I can't have him today.
Well, this is a Maidani, isn't it? Too bad to be true. You've written this off. You're contradicting yourself, man, already.
It's not a Mark Johnston. I just think You've watched him at Ascot. Even though there's no crowd there, the whole occasion got to him, and it just blew his head off before the race. And he pulled too hard. I can't have him. I'm hoping they can get him back sometime, maybe a bit of headgear later in the year, but not today for me, Pierre Lap. I'm against him.
Yeah, and the market is as well. He's out. He's 27s on the exchange. I
mean, 7th furlong as well. They were talking about one of the fastest horses that Roger
Look at the price.
Berry's
He's 26 to 1, is he?
Yeah.
That is extreme. If you just said before the Commonwealth Cup, he'd be 26 to 1.
And nothing came to light. It actually looked like there could be something physically wrong, couldn't there?
Well, he sort of gives the impression that he's a hard horse to keep right, because he's only had 2 runs as a juvenile.
Yeah.
They were quite far spaced apart.
Half brother too.
Who's
Harry's Angel.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
To feed you that one, boys.
Yeah. But his 2 runs as a juvenile were quite far apart, which suggests that he's not necessarily the easiest. And then
Reefer winner. They don't run over 7, do they?
No. And then his run at Ascot was just.
We're thinking this is a bit of experimental.
Well, we don't even know if he's trained on, do we?
Well, there is that as well. One man that has trained on. He's still waiting for his first winner, but you can't keep him down. It's Paul Keeley.
For most people, this race is about Space Blues, who is a short price favourite and deserves to be. He's won his last 2, he's got a good turn of foot, and if he gets a clear run, it's easy to see him bursting clear. The problem, though, is it's Goodwood and it's a big field, and you don't often get clean run races over 7 furlongs. I've taken a chance on a couple of outsiders, one of whom is Marie's Diamond, who finished 3rd at Royal Ascot in the Queen Anne Stakes, but then blew out in the Summer Mile. He does tend to run the odd stinker, though, and he was beaten far too soon for that to be his true running. He's got a rail draw, he will go from the front, and he might be hard to pass. The other one will need to come from the back, and that's Beat Le Bon, but he has some very, very good Goodwood form. He won 2 handicaps very easily last year, including the Golden Mile at this track. And if he gets a decent run out the back, he will finish fast.
Well, 2 now become 1 because Beat Le Bon has been pulled out. So Keeley, again, looking to get it all done, basically. Again, Marie's Diamond. Has anyone told him it's a filly yet, by the way? I was with him this morning. I'm fully aware of that. Right. But listen, one of the hardest things in racing, isn't it, is
it hasn't got my pink highlighter on it, so I know it's not a filly.
Paul Keeley, you need a pink highlighter. Whoever thought that would be the case? We'll get him up to speed by Saturday, don't you worry. Some other horses to mention in here then, because the pace is going to be really interesting in this race. There does look like there's quite a bit on, doesn't
Dubai, maybe?
Dubai, got to be. Surely that's why he's in there again. He's now run 3 times.
He's almost an unofficial pacemaker for Space Blues, isn't he?
Exactly that.
He's running the 2 races that he has this year.
That's what he's there for.
Yeah, my worry about Marie's Diamond was, again, I think not too hard to forgive the Ascot run with kills there. Go back to the Queen Anne form, it's pretty sizzling, isn't it? Where she got her own way pretty much. Drawn to SDS on. If she gets unpestered, fine, but Glorious Journey in there?
Glorious Journey is interesting. I have a notebook of horses that I think were unlucky in the run. I made a note of his run over in Saudi Arabia at Riyadh when he ran behind Dark Power. He was really unlucky that day. Remember the race? He was caught a bit wide.
I really can't remember the race. It's thrown me, this Riyadh racing.
He was caught a bit wide. He never had everything went wrong. I thought that horse is much better than that. And I almost forgot about him. Here he is today popping up. But he's totally unfancy. What sort of price is he?
He's 36. I actually had him down as a horse to be a bit like you, Enzo, as a horse to be interested in. I just didn't know whether this is his first run since Saudi Arabia. And looking back through his form, I didn't know if he might just need this a little bit. But at the price, I mean, at 36, you shouldn't be scared of the price.
That's a massive price.
And go back to that Riyadh meeting, because Mishrif was unearthed from that meeting as well, because he was a bit unlucky in the run at Riyadh.
Unbelievable. That's what I'm talking about.
Gems out of that.
Great horses can get beat at Riyadh seemingly and come out and win classics. There's an interesting horse that was also in that Riyadh race. Let's get to him. Tom Segal's pick. He's gone for Grain here. Is that how we spell this, Neil Hubbard? Is that how we pronounce it? I should be asking Enzo that, really.
Yeah, probably one for Enzo, but we can go with that.
We'll go with it. We'll go with that. Grain.
Yeah.
You want to call it that?
I mean, he's 55 on the exchange, but formerly trained over in France, wasn't he? But he has, if you look back through some of his previous runs, he's been running in
how much they paid for him?
How much?
€600,000.
Well, he was 5th in the Foray, he was 5th in the Jacques Le Marois, he was 4th in a French Guineas, Group 1 placed as a juvenile. I mean, on back class, he shouldn't be 55s in this, should he?
He's got an official rating of 110, which gives him, I think it was
had wind surgery as well. Since his last
that's
run,
interesting, isn't it? And Adam Kirby's on. He's going to get an all right run in the race again. A lot of pace should suit him as well. Escobar's another. We're going right down them now. All of these rags have something about them. Don't history writer for David Menuisier. Fantastic week David had last week, and
that Sandown treble was extraordinary, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and with Ryan Moore on all of them, they knew, didn't they? Ryan's agents had been told.
He's 200 on the exchange, history writer.
And again, he's a horse that He's a horse that will love the way this should be run. And the way this should be run is fast and furious, like Escobar, another wind operation for him. He's got some very good form at the track. Remember, he's been in the Golden Miles, hasn't he? Got awful
Yeah, that's
run
sort of
about
like
2
big
years ago
field
now.
handicaps. And if they do go quick here, then the race like this, which you wouldn't naturally assume, but it might just set up in the way those big field handicaps do to an extent.
Bless him, another horse. He's got some top form as well, hasn't he? Beat Lord North, you remember, at Ascot when he bounced
Given
back.
a peach by Jamie Spencer.
How on earth did he... How did that happen? Of course, was he a Buckingham Palace winner as well, wasn't he?
He just came there. If you watch it, it was just a
Was it
textbook.
Britannia or... It was Britannia,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, Britannia. I just felt that, I think for him, he probably needs it really quick, though.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I think
Because he has been withdrawn on
And is he
on
an
good
Ascot
ground
horse?
he's a
before.
straight mile Ascot horse. Jamie Spencer up.
They're getting him ready for the Balmoral.
Yeah.
That's what's happened. David Simcock, we're on to you. Okay, fair enough. But Oisin Murphy does take a ride. Look, what a deep race this is. What do you make of it?
Yeah, Bless Him's just come through as a non-runner. So
is
Bless Him
that?
is a
Oh,
non-runner.
okay. So that was. Thanks for that, Neil. You're about 2 minutes too late.
Well,
on that
we
one.
saw it flash up on Racing TV that he was a non-runner, but the markets hadn't reacted to
So
it
you
generally.
knew and you let me go on about it. That's
Well, because he
absolutely-
was still in the market, Dave. So
I've got
I didn't
another
want to do you
4
a
days with
It's
this
strange
now.
because they took him out the Midsummer Stakes at Windsor as well at the deck stage, which is interesting, isn't it? They keep taking him out, bless him. Whether
So-
they
I
just
think it's because of the ground. I think he needs it really quick.
So we've got
maybe.
Beat Le Bon out, we've got Bless Him out, that now gone 2 fast ground horses. Beat Le Bon, you remember, went to Australia and he ran okay because the ground somehow gone against him there. So look, the trainers are obviously having a little word with each other, aren't they? And thinking there is juice underfoot. Fast ground horses, not for the connections there.
I'm going to play Duke of Hazzard, but I'm under a little savour on this glorious journey as well. That just my mind's been triggered back to that Saudi Arabia form, that run. James Doyle, I can't ignore him. The old Sheikh Mohammed Silks as well.
You get 7-2 on him to finish in the first 4.
Glorious journey. Yeah.
I thought Safe Voyage was the first 4 bet, I've got to say. Can we have a look at that market again, guys?
He's
up on
consistent. He's
screen?
Mr. Consistent, isn't he?
Yeah,
See
what, the
if we
4
can do it.
places?
Yeah, let's
market?
go to Neil's magic machine and have a little look there. Yeah, so I mean...
4 places, yeah.
He's come in right now on that, has he?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
he's
he
been
was around
smashed in.
1.9.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. He's a horse that is rarely out of the frame.
I mean, Sir Dancelot, though, talking about him, who's won the last 2. He's 10 to 11 to finish in the first 4.
Gerard Mosse has had his eye in at Windsor last night on a horse, Raymond Melody, that didn't quite see out the mile for David Ellsworth. David Ellsworth, master trainer, says in his comments this morning, my horses have been a little bit quiet, but 1 or 2 of them have gone all right. I am mildly optimistic, which probably... Listen, you've got horses on a hat-trick in the race. You have to be.
You
He's
can
a
fancy him, though,
6-year-old now.
right? Because he had a good run in the July Cup, was it, last time?
Yeah, absolutely. And the ground being on the slightly easy side.
It's his
definitely
race, isn't it? It's his race. This is his derby, isn't it? It's a dance lot every year. It's a shame we don't have a Group 1 race in this country. It's not over 7. It's that specialist. We have the foray.
You've got to go
in
to the
France.
foray.
But
Yeah.
this is almost the big 7 furlong duel on the crown.
You could
race,
make
isn't it?
this the Group 1, couldn't you, in terms of... You wouldn't need to
Why don't we
create
have
a race.
Why don't we have
do
a
you?
Group 1 over 7? in
It's
this country?
almost like with the jumps thing, isn't it? With the 2 mile 4, it's the intermediate distance, it's the drop back distance, like the Jersey Stakes is for guineas, also rans, if you like.
You have to go sort of Jersey, Lennox, foray, don't you? That's
Why
the
don't
kind
we
of-
have a Group 1? I think it's lots been talked about that over the years. You would campaign for
I
it.
would campaign. I might send an email to the BHA. So come on, let's get a Group 1.
You're
over
going
7
on the
furlongs.
tracks. You can do this. We can, if you want to get a movement for a Group 1 7 furlong race. Enzo is your
They have them in
Get-
America as well,
Get
don't
him
they?
to do it.
I just don't see why we don't have one. I
7
mean, obviously, you have to change the calendar a bit. But if this was a Group 1, it would be great, wouldn't it? 'Cause you
What
might-
would it take away from the Sussex, though? For example, a horse like Siskin would be very tempted to go there, wouldn't he?
Possibly,
Surely.
yeah. I suppose that's the one.
The
Maybe
3-year-olds might
if you
do
had
it.
it, maybe not have it this week. Then.
There are people on the pattern committee watching this show going
Going
Enzo's
crazy, throwing things
absolutely
at
off
the
his
screen.
head, going absolutely beside themselves. Neil Hubbard, talk us to the market, beside themselves. I'm losing the plot. Space Blues and Duke of Hazzard look the ones that are really hardening now.
Space Blue's really solid at the head of the market. So he's into 3.1, which is 2 to 1. Duke of Hazzard, 6.8. Safe Voyage, just about second favourite now at 6.6. So Dancelot, a tad weak at 8.2. But Space Blues is actually really solid at the head of the market. Just ahead of Safe Voyage and Duke of Hazzard, who are scrapping it out for second favouritism.
We're thinking early pace. I'm thinking it's going to be Marie's Diamond and Dubai early leaders. Agree?
And your Glorious Journey.
Glorious Journey sits in third.
Very possibly with James Doyle on from 9. So actually, some of the pace horses are going to have to get across. Marie's Diamonds in 2, isn't she? Space Blues, William Buick. If you're on the Fab now, we're just watching him go down. He's a chestnut, isn't he? Always gleams in the sunshine. Does
He's a good-looking horse.
Fantastically well, and you can tell they do think a great deal of him. Lost his way a little bit as a
Should have won at
3-year-old,
Royal
didn't he?
Ascot, shouldn't he, last year when he just got tipped out.
He would have been favourite for the Diamond Jubilee if he'd gone there.
Yeah, he was. After his win at Haydock, he was put in as anti-post favourite.
And they've elected to go the foray route, haven't they, basically?
I think 7 just his trip, isn't it? I mean, that's his
6 would be
specialist.
all right for him, wouldn't it? I don't
Yeah, he
know.
could have ran in July Cup, I suppose. Could have been an
So
option for him.
Dancelot is
maybe.
that typical stiff 6, easy 7 horse, isn't he, I think?
What is Pierre Lapin going to do from the outside draw as well? This could be...
He could
he could try and get. I don't know what they're going to try and do.
This could be-
Andrea's going to try and settle him, I'd imagine,
Well,
to get the distance. He's going to have.
Yeah.
To
What did he do in the Mill Reef and that? He was fairly prominent, wasn't he?
he's a horse that just likes a bit of cover, isn't he? And
Yeah.
I seem to remember
He
from memory they
pulls a
rode
bit,
him
doesn't
quite
he, I
prominently
think.
in the Commonwealth Cup, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. So Dubai, glorious journey, and
What does Safe Voyage do from 1? Does he just sit 4th or 5th?
box seat all the way.
Third,
Got to be,
fourth.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely midfield. I think. with
Straightforward
Jason
horse
Hart.
to ride.
Great rider, Jason Hart. Got a lot of time for him. Like him a lot.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
Like him a lot.
And I mean, John Quinn, he's had these 2 big Saturday horses, if you like, haven't he, at Liberty Beach, that have kept him, bringing him down for Epsom.
What was the
Ascot,
name of his
Goodwood.
Coventry winner?
Hellevian?
No, that was Brian Smart.
Oh, it's Brian Helvin, wasn't
Close
it?
but no cigar. What was his name? Oh, come on. Oh, it's on the tip of your tongue, isn't it? Let us know out there, whatever John Quinn's Coventry winner was. Let us know where your money's going in this race. Social comments, we love to have them in. We've had a bundle of them so far. We'd like to give you the shout. It's been a good day for punters so far, hasn't it? Is it going to be one of these weeks where we strike in the battle against the bookmakers? Let's hope so. So basically, if it goes to trend so far, boys, then Space Blues will beat Duke of Hazzard and Safe Voyage, won't he? I mean,
it's
that's
as
kind
easy
of
as
how it's been
that,
going.
yeah.
This is a race, though, where they can. I think this is going to be the call which tests your mettle. I think this will be
It's
it.
tough, this wasn't it? I'm just hoping that Duke of Hazzard he's going to be ridden for luck, isn't he? Over
He
the
has
mile.
to be.
I think he's going to have to come with a run. Whether
You're with
David
your man
Probert-
Probert on.
in Probert we trust. So whether he decides to drop him in and then sort of look for. Will he go up the inside? I don't know. I think you probably want to be.
David should be so used to this because he rides at Wolverhampton so well, doesn't
Yeah,
he? You go
does.
around that bend and trying to get through. Okay, they're going in just about now for the 2:45 Group 2 Vintage Stakes. That means we're half an hour away from the poster boy of the day. Stradivarius against Santiago, an Irish Derby winner, getting over a stone. That is going to be absolutely fantastic, unmissable stuff, like it is for the rest of the week here on RP Live. Don't forget the survey, of course. If you're watching on YouTube, you can check that out. Fill in the survey, do it all the week. Whoever's there right at the end will win a prize. Don't forget to get your comments in #RP Live. How are we doing? It's all going well so far. We're going to be with you hopefully throughout the rest of the year. We've been steering the show as it's going on throughout COVID-19. Unbelievable season. Never been a year like it, but what a flat season it has been.
And we've had those big Sundays, haven't we, as well? Normally
Amazing.
before, you'd have a big Saturday, wouldn't
Yeah.
you? And then Sunday, you've just got 3 jumps meetings. You think,
Last Sunday was
good,
great, wasn't it? You know,
you've
Ascot
got big
and
flat
York.
meetings, haven't you? And it's big. Ascot, York, terrestrial
not
television
just Ireland
coverage.
and France. Yeah, definitely. We've got to keep them going. That is definitely a campaign we're going to win, I think. All right, couple more going in then. Neil Hubbard, anything to say just before we go off?
Just Safe Voyage is now clear second favourite, so he's into 5.9 now, so really solid late move for him. And just a couple of really weak ones. We've already spoken about Pierre Lapin, who's out to 30. He was 14s overnight, so that's a massive drift. And actually, Glorious Journey, we're saying that he was 34, 35. He's into 26
one's
now,
going
so
in
there
now.
is some late money for him.
Last one's in. All right, Tony Ennis, are you ready? Let's hope Tony's got to earn his corn here.
Here
It's
we
going
go.
to be a tough call.
It's the Qatar Goodwood Stakes, 7 furlong Group 2. Could almost be a Group 1, but they're often racing. Now, what's happened to Pierre Lapin? He's been kept wide. Something's had the blindfold come off quite late, but they are racing cleanly over the 7. Good speed towards the inside. As expected, Marie's Diamond is up with the pace we thought he would be, and he is. Glorious Journey's handy too. In the Sheikh Mohammed Silks, just off them is the outsider History Writer. Safe Voyage, as we thought, tucks in on the inside of the box seat. Pierre Lapin is racing without
Where's the
cover.
Duke? Where's
Looking
the
further
Duke?
back. Duke of Hazzard, he's on the inside, Dave. Covered up by Probert. Might go for the brave man's route. Where's Space Blues, I hear you ask?
Yeah.
He's only got 2 behind at the moment. Buick confident, though, towards the back, but he should have clear sailing from there. The previous winner, where's he? Sir Dancelot, he's
Next
tucked in
to
on the
him, yeah.
inside as well. The last 2 are Grania and also Dubai, we thought might be leading. He's stone last.
Neil Hubbard, what's the market saying?
Space Blues even shorter, 2.8, which is strange considering how far back he is, but really solid at the top there. Space Blues.
Okay, 3 furlongs out.
Duke
Tony
of
Ennis,
Hazzard
Maurice
now.
Diamond still there.
Oh, Duke of Hazzard's having a bit of a rough ride on the inside there. Probert needs a miracle to get out. Pierre Lapin.
Space Blues, odds on.
Oh, Space Blues is cruising, isn't
he's
he?
coming down the outside.
He's coming down the outside, plenty of horse.
Oh,
The
he's
Duke's
cruising,
lost
isn't
him
it?
behind. Tony Ennis, come
What's
on,
the
this
Duke
is a
doing?
tough call.
Right, Duke of Hazzard needs to
Come
get
on,
out.
the
Space
Duke.
Blues. Dubai's coming with
Come
a
on,
run.
the Duke.
Space Blues there.
Come on,
Space
Duke,
Blues.
you got
he's
this.
taken
Come on,
off.
Duke.
He's taken off,
Come on,
hasn't he?
Duke, you can get
Space
him.
Blues has got first
Space
run.
Blues has taken off here.
Here comes Dubai as well.
Duke
Escobar's
of Hazzard's
there.
now out, but it's too
this
late,
is
isn't
another
it?
fav.
Oh, he's
Space
settled
Blues,
that,
it's the
you know.
favourites week. Look at
Duke
that.
of
William
Hazzard,
Buick.
That was
second.
awesome from him.
Woo!
First and second, we almost called it. Duke of Hazzard second. Escobar, huge run in third for David O'Mara. But Space Blues, he is the 7 furlong king. You've got to take your hat off to him.
The 7 furlong king. Wow, is that 3 favs in a row that we've just had there? It is, isn't it? 3 favs in a row. Tomorrow's Dream, the race that we had just off air that opened the meeting, there was a 4-1 shot out to 11-2. So the fancied runners, they are winning at Goodwood so far. It was a bit of a rough race. I can see Gerard Mosse on Sir Dancelot, the hat-trick bid. It came unstuck, didn't it? But he's finished with a bid in hand, I think. So, messy race. We'll try and dissect that for you. We'll give you the time comparatively as well. Neil Hubbard, congratulations to you. You're on a bit of a bounce now as well.
Yeah, that was really pleasing. I think that was a really, really good performance from him. He went odds on at the 2-pole or halfway down the home straight, really, and he settled that in a matter of strides. That's a really good performance from him.
He's a straightforward horse, isn't he? He's got that push-button acceleration. And
yeah.
I think just at the 7, Duke of Hazard just didn't have that tactical pace, did he, Dave, at the 7? He just hasn't got that gear to get out.
I think that's fair enough. He's
run a good race, though.
He's definitely been done by a quicker horse. Love the way he stayed on, though. And Dave Previtt
Safe
couldn't do
Voyage,
much more.
I think, probably
4th.
got up for 4th. So your 4 places, Safe Voyage would have landed as well.
So the heavy hitters who've gone in for Safe Voyage in the 4 spaces, you can come up.
That was
behind
easy,
the sofa.
though, from the winner, that was.
Loads of eye catchers, though, I've got to say. What was the story of the race then, market-wise?
It was all about Space Blues, who went odds on really quickly. I mean, halfway through Enzo's commentary, when we just jumped in there, he'd got even shorter, even though they only had 2 behind him. So at about the halfway stage, he was sub 2
Where
to
he
1.
was, you could see that he was going to have no traffic problems. Buick's just going to go a little bit out that way, whereas Probert on the Danger was tucked in, looking for room, wasn't he? And he just got
it was
a
a
little
sort
bit
of Goodwood
about.
race there, where even though there was 3 or 4 ahead of Space Blues, they were actually in a worse position, track position-wise, than where Space Blues was.
You know what? I did a feature show this morning with Paul Key and Dave Jennings, and Keeley said Space Blues will probably come down the centre, avoid all the trouble and go and win rally. DJ, you're on a hat-trick if you're watching. Happy days, pal. So the judges are in form, but it's all going to plan, guys, isn't it? I think we can say that there were some messy runs in behind. We're watching the replay now. Watch Grain out the back. He doesn't get much run. So Dancelot definitely finds trouble. And just as Duke of Hazard gets out on the inside, Enzo, watch for Space Voyage on the inside. No run whatsoever.
Yeah, Duke of Hazard just in between History Writer and Safe Voyage here. Safe Voyage looked like he had the box seat, but he didn't, because he didn't get that run, did he, on the inside?
Yeah.
But all the time, William Buick was just cruising. Dubai, they changed the tactics today, dropped him right out. He wasn't beating that far, actually. He's certainly one I'd keep an eye on, because they've ridden him from off the pace today. Pierre Lapin, what do we do with him? I just don't know.
It's disappointing. Do you know what? He's in my 10 to follow.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
and
dear.
he's just, look at him at the moment, head to one side. I think he's finished last, hasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, poor Pierre Lapin.
I don't know what to do with him. I don't think he stays 7.
They'll go back sprinting, surely, won't they? But does that mean he's lost a little bit of his space? Glorious Journey's run disappointingly, Enzo.
Glorious Journey, disappointed with him.
Bit
He was
too
one up.
fizzy.
Yeah, he's run very poorly. He just beat Pierre Lapin.
Maybe just needed the run there, as
And
we sort of said, yeah.
I don't think he's a Group 2 horse, Glorious Journey. I think more listed level.
Listed Group 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's an interesting run from Safe Voyage, like watching this back, because he was in the box seat in 2nd or 3rd, and then if you watch...
Didn't this happen at Epsom, though? Didn't he trade a bit bigger when he came under pressure and then stayed on?
But I just think, like, if you only watch the finish of the race, you see him running on, and it's like, oh, he must have been caught too far back. But actually, he was in a good position and sort of...
He had Maurice Diamond, though, right, if you look, he had
Yeah,
Maurice
and he had
Diamond
nowhere
right
to
in front of
go.
him all the way.
She's run a bit disappointing, isn't she? Do you think they went a bit too quick there? We were expecting a bit of pressure up front.
Yeah, Safe Voyage is actually weaving around everywhere there. He's probably one to take out of that. Because
Maurice Diamond was just in his way all the way.
Yeah.
The home straight.
These horses will all go to the Foray. That's an arc weekend. Please
Space
God.
Blues loves a trip to France, isn't he? Already proved
Look,
he's booked his Foray ticket.
They know what they're doing, these boys at Godolphin, don't they? Yeah. Absolutely. Proven he can travel now. And he
didn't even need his pacemaker today,
he's
did he?
booked his ticket. But if you're Sir Dancelot, still just a 6-year-old, you're likely to get your easy ground. You're going to take revenge, aren't you? There's a result in Space Blues beats Duke of Haddon. Escobar, who we did mention pre-race. Windop looks to have done him good.
Yeah, and if you mention about like the pace, did they go too quick, whatever, then it maybe tallies with Escobar, who we said would be suited to coming off a quick pace, and
Just
that's how
one
it's
of those,
maybe worked out.
He's actually found a bit of trouble as well, because Space Blues has lugged slightly in front of him as well, so big run from David O'Mara.
He'd be one to turn out quick. I don't think they will. I don't know if he's entered, but for the Golden Mile on Friday, Escobar.
Yeah, fascinating.
I've got him down for a race at Doncaster Leisure Week, that Group 3 over 7. Escobar.
This is why you're in the studio.
Is that the Champagne?
I think it's a
Scepter. Oh, the Champagne's a 2-year-old one, isn't it?
Whoever thought we'd be talking about that today? St Leisure meeting. That's a Doncaster.
That's what I've got Escobar ready for that.
Loads of people really excited about the St Leisure meeting, actually, aren't they? Because we will have had a clear run by then.
And hopefully a chance of a limited crowd, perhaps. We're thinking maybe for Doncaster, is it?
Yeah, the trial is on Saturday, isn't it? So if it goes well, they've got plotted trials around Goodwood, the perfect place to do it.
We have had owners back into racecourses, though. I think I was one of the first ones at Lingfield when we had the owners back in. I think that was almost one of the 3rd or 4th meetings they had the owners back in.
Was there a bit of trepidation about that? Were people really keeping their distance? Were people a little bit nervous about it? Or was it, we're back, happy days?
there weren't that many there. There was only, I think, about 25 or 30 owners there, but they obviously kept the social distancing rules, but they had their own area. They could watch the racing in, which was go and watch the racing. I think Kempton did it slightly different. They had them kind of a certain area of the paddock where they could sort of stay, obviously, within social distancing rules. But it was good just to have that little bit of presence, if you know what I mean, on the racecourse.
Even the Derby meeting, owners were only allowed on the track for 45 minutes, weren't they? Obviously, the big powerhouses would have had plenty of runners, so I'm not sure how they played it. But I remember speaking to David Redvers prior to Kamiko running in the Derby, and he said, we'll have to, pop the champagne in the car park. So how do we feel now about owners? Should they be enjoying the day out? I want to come to you over this, Enzo, a little bit. Not every owner is happy, are they, with what they've received so far?
No, I think the limited time slots was something they wanted to go there for the day. They didn't want to be told, you've got to go after your race. They didn't like that, which I can see. I think being asked to pay for refreshments, I thought was a little bit unkind if you consider how much they're paying in training fees.
It's
perhaps
remarkable that they're even charging for them, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think owners. I think it happens in. It's been happening in racing a long time. I think owners need to. I mean, a lot of talk in the Racing Post about it as well. Owners need to be cherished. They need to be treated properly.
They kept the sport going when we were in lockdown, didn't we?
You think the training fees they were paying during lockdown as well for horses that weren't running and getting no money back in? I think you've got to certainly treat them a bit better, I think.
Look after the owners, that's what we're saying. We need them to be happy so the rest of us can be happy. Neil Hubbard, you were trying to point at me, something was going on the screen?
Just interesting there, we were sort of trying to work out why Dubai was held up or so far back in the race. Escobar was next to him in the stalls. The stalls came out. Escobar had the blindfold on in the stalls. He whipped off the blindfold and it went on to Dubai. It went on to Dubai, which maybe took him back a little bit. So, yeah.
Because we said, didn't we? There's something. I saw a blindfold just appear.
It was Escobar throwing it onto Dubai. Yeah.
Okay. I was just looking for the times. The boys in the studio are saying the times are in. Comparatively, we will try and give them to you. Obviously, it's going to be faster than the vintage stakes, but still looks to me. In fact, I can see them coming in. Rob Lee and Elliot Hatley both trying to message me. It's all kicking off. So slow point 3.48 seconds. We're looking at good to soft, Enzo, aren't we?
Yeah, looks like it's good to soft ground, but definitely a few to take from that race, but. Yeah, Escobar. Looking forward to that race now already. Scepter Stakes, 7 furlongs, straight 7 at Donny. Perfect for him.
It's so informative this year, isn't it? And all the targets and that beautiful resumption of racing that we've had. We were without racing for such a long time, but now we can look forward to all these glorious. The beauty about racing is future targets. You've just come up with a really random one there, but if he doesn't run, I'm gonna be on you like all the viewers of RP Live. Don't forget to fill out our survey. Then get feedback on how we're doing. How can we make RP Live even better? The link is on the description. You'll see it there on YouTube. And at the end of the week, whoever's filled it out the most, I guess that's how it's going to work. Well, we're in a £50 Amazon gift card. I do feel a little bit like QVT sometimes on this show. Bruce Millington said it right at the start when we came back. I think he's absolutely right. But listen, we are just trying to get you ahead of the game here. Okay, so, right, where are we? I've just had an email in from Paul Keeley, actually. I can't read out the exact wording of it. He's not having the best time so far. And he said, it's titled, Office is Freezing. So I've gone, I think we'll just say that, and have a beer another time. Post Saturday, so we've had an escape there, chaps, because let me tell you, one beer is just usually about 10 Guinness with Keeley, but the office was a little bit too cold, so he's gone. There aren't many people here in Racing Post Towers. You slightly surprised to see that when you come in?
Yeah. Normally I've been here a few times before for various programmes and things, and yeah, normally it's a full house out there, isn't it? People beavering away hard, working hard, but it's strange.
Yeah, we've all proved that we can work remotely. Are you back in the office watching us? The great thing about RP Live is you can get us on social media, free to air. We go far and wide, We've had people from America, Australia, all over the place messaging in.
Yeah, a few tweets I've seen coming in as well from all over the world, so it's good.
Happy days. Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, it's been good so far. Winner and a couple of near misses, so yeah, doing all right, couple of thirds.
We're all right, aren't we? Absolutely.
Right.
I've got the buzz about this so far. My money's been just about right for once, so I'm happy days. Neil Hubbard, you are 2 from 3?
No, just 1 from 3, I think.
Oh, 1 from 3. I tried to get.
Yeah, I could have played along with that. But then you would have.
Did you not go Space Blues? That was your selection, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Space Blues.
Did you go Battleground? No, you went.
No, I did Painless Potter to be placed. Yeah, and you didn't. And then Tinadali.
And Tinadali, of course. Yeah, all right, okay. So,
but between us, we've sort of covered off the 3 races, I think.
Yeah, well, listen, we've had market leaders or second market leaders.
No shock yet. When's the shock going to happen?
It's
not in the Goodwood Cup, we hope.
Well, no. We're coming up to the Goodwood Cup, and seamlessly, let's give you a stat pack. Okay, back in some stats and some juicy stats at that. Just give a nod to the guys at myracing.com. It's been another good day for them. Their naps at Royal Ascot flew in all over the place. And their ACCA, they've gone for the treble. Elliot Hackney in the studio, he's all over this as well. Battleground, ping. Space Blues, ping. Guess who they're going for now? Come on.
The Strad.
The Strad. It's going to be juicy though, isn't it? I think Dan Walsh in the studio as well earlier saying that some bookmakers are offering around about 14-1 for the Treb there. So, woo, bookmakers are buckling.
He's 1.66, which is
4
to 6.
4 to 6.
Currently, yeah. So about the same price as he has been overnight. Santiago has been backed. He's 2-1. And then it really is a 2-horse race because you've got Neff Road then at 30, Spanish Mission at 60, Eagles by Day 85, Who Dares Wins 170, and Yushin Glen 420. But the market says it's a 2-horse race. Yeah, that's how it's and that's how it looks at the minute.
Now, the interesting thing about Stadavarius, whichever way you look, I'm sure I've heard someone say Stradivarius. That's where I've got this from. I'm sure I've heard someone in the classical world as Stradivarius. That's definitely what I've heard. It's like Dahlia Dahlia, and I've been proved right, Bruce Willington, about Dahlia, if you're watching. John Gosden called the great filly that of the weekend. Another little Philip there. He'll be livid if he's watching. I'm sure he is. Bruce back in on Friday, just to let you know. We've got a different person each day, each week. Tony Ennis joins us in the studio. A little reminder, if you don't know who Tony Ennis is, where have you been during lockdown? He was about one of the only voices you heard on Sky. We were desperate for Gulfstream, weren't we? Absolutely all the way. Were you doing the foreign stuff? How much you loving Tony on the show? Let us know. I've just replied to Paul Keeley. We will have a beer on Saturday, so if you're in the vicinity, South Bank, come and find us. We'll be out. We'll be out there. Neil Hubbard, how are you enjoying your return to the show?
Yeah, I'm very much enjoying it. It's a long week ahead of us, so slow and steady wins the race. But a couple of winners already we've now between us as a
We're
panel.
getting a bit hardened, aren't we?
Yeah, off to a good start though.
Let's get back on course. Stradivarius. We were chatting with the guys in the studio actually about this. Do you remember? I don't know. Is it one of these horses, isn't he, that up until Royal Ascot, where perhaps he became immortal, 3 Gold Cups, not quite Yates yet, and our Racing Post handicappers have rated him just a pound off the great Yates. I guess if he sees off Santiago on the bridle this time, that's going to change. You remember at Ascot, he drifted out, didn't he? Nearly went even money. I remember Barry Orr was saying this is going to go.
The ground, wasn't it?
There was soft ground, schmoffed ground.
It was the hard race in the Coronation Cup.
Exactly, the rush prep. But this time, I guess, Neil Hubbard, because the favourites have been going in, there's no 4 to 5 available, right?
No, he's 4 to 6 at the minute, and really strong at that. So he hasn't really moved too much. Well, in terms of last night to overnight, he has drifted a little bit and come back in, but he's just really solid at the head of the market there, and we're nearing £900,000 matched on this race.
There must be a set of people who've just been taking him on, haven't they, all his career? And they're probably thinking, right, we're going to get him beat today.
I think Paul Keeley was one of them until last time, actually, and when he went from edge down. But it's like a See the Stars thing, isn't it? It's like a Frankel thing.
We'll get him beat eventually.
I kept taking on See the Stars. I wasn't anywhere near taking on Frankel, thank goodness.
But to be fair, you have got Stradivarius beat a couple of times, haven't you? Obviously. He
has been beaten.
Gardens beat him, didn't he?
Yeah. Coronation Cup, you wouldn't really. He was a biggish price that day.
What is he? He's done 6 Group 1s, isn't he? This will be his
15
7th.
out of 22, I think, lifetime record.
17-month unbeaten run, which really endeared him, I think. And I have been with him, I've got to say. Do you know what? I put him up in the paper when I was doing something for the Trading Post with the Tipsters guys. I put him up in a handicap at Chester. And he got beaten. By, was it Hereby? I remember it was a Rafe Beckett horse. Now, Rob Lee straight on, he knows.
I remember
he got beat around Chester.
Yeah. I remember his Newcastle win.
Unbelievable. I remember him up at Beverley, I think, on his 3-year-old return. That's where he really looked like the whoosher. He is a king amongst stayers. The Cup division has been really ignited. Let's face it, if there wasn't Stradivarius involved, it would be a division that needs looking at, a little bit like our middle distance
Group
division.
1s as well. I saw a tweet this morning saying how much we need Aidan O'Brien as well. Without Aidan O'Brien, we'd have had a King George walkover. And
where did you stand on that
eclipse.
then? Let's have a little talk about the King George with 9 minutes to go. They were slightly behind, aren't they, at Glorious Goodwood, so we can say it's about 15, I think. Where did you stand on that? When you saw the 5-day decks for the King George and you went, my goodness me, only 2 trains, did you just put it down to being the crazy 2020?
I was amazed nothing from the Derby ran in it. Mm-hmm. I thought an English King.
If English can run a bit better, But I think that if he'd have gone a bit closer, I could have seen that.
Well, I thought Aidan might have ran one of his 3-year-olds.
That's asking a lot for something from the Derby, and one of the weirdest derbies we've seen in one of the weirdest years, that hasn't run so well. Kamiko was always going to go to the Sussex here tomorrow. Were there any real 3-year-olds that could have turned up? I don't know.
And also the lack of a St Michael. I mean, the King George always has a St Michael Stout horse, doesn't it?
Serpentine could have run, couldn't he?
Serpentine against Enable would have been something else, wouldn't it?
That would have been something to watch.
It was a shame. Look, it was still a Group 1. She's a great horse.
What a performance it was, Neil Hubbard. It was marvellous, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good. I think that moment when Frankie looked around halfway down the home straight, that's what everyone likes to see, isn't it?
She must have been long odds on before the home turn. Must have been 5 on the turn.
Yeah, it was pretty much a non-event, really.
Japan, what do we do with him now? Stinker, wasn't it?
Disappointing, isn't he? Disappointing
Ground?
a few times.
I'm not sure
Is he
about
just
that.
not? I mean, I know he's
Mile
won
four?
Group 1s, isn't he? But is he just not top notch?
He's just a bit flat. I mean, they had rushed him a little bit. We saw Ennis Time, and of course in the Irish Oaks, a classic horse of a horse that's maybe suffered from the rushed preparation. 3 runs in a row. It's a little bit tough.
He ran
isn't
okay in the Eclipse, didn't he? I suppose Japan.
He ran
wasn't
blind
too
in the
bad.
Eclipse,
He's a good horse, but I just think that level.
York looking like it could be something special now, isn't it?
He could go back to defend his crown in that. He won the judgment last year, didn't he? That would seem an obvious one for him.
And Gayeth, he's going to come up against the mighty Gayeth. Will Enable go there, or will she go back to the Yorkshire Oaks where she's going to face Love?
I don't think you go for the Judgment. It's going to be too hot this year because the Judgment is going to be won by the best middle distance 3-year-old in this country.
Which is?
Mishriff.
Tony Ennis.
Mishriff is just a machine.
I mean, you must have been with him then.
Yeah.
Were you with him at This is a pocket.
Newmarket I was when he beat Valdkoenig. Stable Companion's been a bit disappointing. And again in the French Derby, I didn't like Victor Ludorum. I remember talking to our French expert Laurent Barbaran on Sky about them before, and I said, I really fancy Mishriff, and he couldn't have him saying, no, Victor Ludorum's going to win it.
He doesn't mind a short one, Laurent, does he? He doesn't mind a shorty.
I couldn't talk him into Mishriff, but I thought he's just got that acceleration. Just look at how he quickened. Everything went wrong for him as well. They're all rolled in on him. Yurex Mendes about a nightmare. Couldn't get him out of the pocket, and when he got him out of the pocket, he went whoosh.
Isn't it remarkable how John Gosden has these stars?
John Gosden, Enable, Lord North, Mishriff, those 3 he could just corner and win every Group 1 over a mile and 2, a mile and a half, couldn't he?
He's going to run both. Sorry, did you say Mishriff for the Judgment?
Yes, there's talk about him going for it. If he does,
we run him.
You think he wins? That is a bold statement.
I think he'd win it.
What do you think? Do you think Tony's absolutely bonkers? And most of us do, I have to say, but he sometimes get these things right. What's that jumper that we used to talk about? You told me it's the best jumper you'd ever see. It was a Venetia Williams. Yaltari.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there.
And since I had to mention this, it's the moment you told me that Yaltari would win something at Cheltenham. I don't think he's finished a race.
No,
so
I get it wrong now and again.
If you like Mishriff, let's hope the Enzo curse isn't on it. But York does look fantastic. We will be covering it here, the E-Ball meeting on RP Live. That's in August, would you believe? But yeah, we've got so many clues to come for that. Still at Glorious Goodwood. We've got the big race of the day coming up, the 3:15, the Group 1 Goodwood Cup. Have we heard from... Yeah, Neil, of course. You've got to take it away. Where's the play?
We're going to back Stradivarius, but we're actually going to back him in play because he's currently around 4-6. But as Tony said, he's won 15 lifetime starts, and in all but one of them, he's traded bigger.
You've done this a few times, Neil. Is this the way to play?
Yeah, I think so. Because
could I put in a keep? Could I put in 1.8 or something?
That's exactly the price that I was going to go for. So
1.8.
So he's currently trading at 4-6. But we're going to try to back him at 4-5, which I think if he was 4-5 now, we'd all say is a fair enough price, and we'd want to get involved in. So how you do that on the exchanges? He's 1.66, 1.65. So we're going to add that to the bet slip, but we're going to choose our own odds. So we're going to take this up to 1.8. which is 4-5 in fractional terms, and we're going to have £50 on that. We're going to place that bet, and it's going to be unmatched because we're obviously asking for a price that's bigger than the current market rate is. Yeah. But when a bet is unmatched, you get 3 options when the race goes in play. So you can either cancel it, you can take the SP, or you can keep the bet. And by keeping the bet, what that does is it plugs it in for in-running. So that basically means that we're placing an in-play bet pre-play. So we're going to keep that. We're going to hit that keep button, and we're going to update the bet. And what that means is once the race jumps off, if he hits 1.8, we should get matched there. So we're playing Stradivarius in running and trying to get about 4-5 for him.
You like that, Enzo, did you?
Yeah, I think that's the right way to play it. I think he seems to have a lot of people want to take him on, this horse, doesn't he? I think I wouldn't say he hits flat spots, is he? He's not like a horse that comes off the bride or anything. Like you could always remember, like the likes of Big Bucks and over in Ingles Dreaver and things like that.
You're suggesting there are people in running waiting for this flop so they can go, I knew I had this Stradivarius right.
Yeah,
you can profit from that.
I think so. I think he will go 4 or 5. Look, Santiago's fascinating, isn't he? I mean, he was brilliant at Ascot, and then he ran so quickly, didn't he? The Irish Derby, I think it was just a week later.
Yes, it was. Yeah, he took that apart, didn't he?
He did. I think the third horse is very
Was
interesting.
it an Irish Derby in all but name?
It was, some people called it a Ballydoyle Gallop, which I thought was a bit unfair. But because Aidan had, I don't know how many he had in the race, he had about 6, didn't he?
Well, let me have a look.
He had a lot in the race anyway.
Yeah.
It's probably fair to say it wasn't a great.
We had the first 4 home. You had Tiger Moth, Dawn Patrol, and Order of Australia.
We didn't have because we couldn't have the usual runners from our derby like we would have had in the old days.
And it was just a bizarre timing, wasn't it? Of course, right. It was actually
before the Epsom Derby, which is very
bizarre.
But look, he's a great horse. I think he's a really good 3-year-old, Santiago. I don't think he's as good as their Epsom Derby winner, but getting a stone in a pound.
That's again another bold statement. I mean, lots of people think Serpentine will be a flash in the pan.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
You think he's a monster?
Yeah, I think he's brilliant.
Where does he go next?
Good question.
Could he do a Japan and try and win that the Group 1 in France at Longchamp?
Not the Grand Prix de Paris.
The Grand Prix de Paris,
Yeah,
thank you,
could
Neil
do,
Hubbard. It's something like that, I think, and then keep him
Be an
fresh
arc.
as something like an arc.
Yeah.
That's probably, I mean, that's what they did with Japan, I think.
And Santiago's the ledger horse and Serpentine's your arc horse. Is that
Santiago is the legend.
And don't forget the third horse in the Irish Derby, Dawn Patrol, who I think could be a ledger horse as
He
well.
won at 1-8 last
I know,
time.
but watching him in the Irish Derby is a bit unlucky. He wouldn't have beaten Santiago, but he'd been closer with a run.
So the form of the Irish Derby, let's draw a line onto this. Not that strong, but Santiago was a convincing winner. The Queen's Vase looks like it is actually pretty good form, isn't it? I think Berkshire Rocco's still a horse that could potentially have a say for the season. For Andrew Balding, that was second. The third, Al Dabaran has come out and finished third in the Bahrain Trophy. That was a pretty good run. Looked like, again, slightly better edition of that. Not too bad, getting £15 from Stradivarius. This is so exciting. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep a lid on it through this. If Frankie has another look over his shoulder, the studio's coming down on my head again.
Is he your selection then? Again,
of course, he's my selection. I'm not
love this
going
horse,
against him. What's the point in taking him on? He gets to the Cup races and he wins, doesn't he? Yes, I think John Gosden, sometimes, I think he likes to create a narrative. I think he's master at it.
Yeah.
He's absolutely brilliant.
The whole soft ground narrative is a good one as well, isn't it?
Yes, it means nothing to it. Mighty Mouse, Lewis Porteous said they call him in Newmarket, page 2 of your Racing Post. He also said that he's got a personality to rival Frankie Dettori. Wow, he's a serious horse, isn't he? The way they talk about this horse, you know, when he lights up, they are going down to the track, we should say.
So Naif Road's going to go off in front, as he normally does?
Looks that way, doesn't it? Is there anything that could throw a spanner in here?
I'll tell you who's quite an interesting one, but I'm just worried that the turnaround's so quick, which is the top one, Eagles by Day.
He did well, didn't he, that race at York? He did well.
Yeah,
But
and
I think
he's got an interesting Goodwood angle because his
Very good.
the mare, Miss United,
Yeah.
won the Lily
Oh.
Langtree at
Miss
Goodwood.
United got a mention. They're one of the toughest mares in training.
And she won the Lily Langtree, which
Yeah.
will be on Thursday or Friday, presumably this week.
Was
I
that
think.
Mick Winters? Mick Winters.
Yeah,
Miss
yeah.
United, wasn't it?
yeah.
So I
The
think he's
unpronounceable Mick Winters when you hear him talking.
So I think he's interesting. I'm just a bit worried because it's only 10 days since he last ran at York.
Well, we talked about spanners in the work. Let's see if Paul Keeley can throw one in at the Goodwood Cup.
John Gosden reckons this could be Stradivarius' toughest staying challenge, and on paper it might be. He does have to give £15 to a last time out Irish Derby winner in Santiago. However, the Irish Derby form doesn't look particularly strong. It had only horses from Ireland running in it for a start, and Stradivarius proved himself to be an absolute great when bolting up by 10 lengths at Royal Ascot to win his third Gold Cup. He's very much the one to beat. All ground comes alike to him. In fact, he probably prefers it soft, even though the trainer thinks it's the other way round. He should win. He's a great horse.
Should win, and he is a great horse, Kills. Thank you very much for that. So, look, all ticks unsurprisingly. I wonder whether someone might come in today and go, this is just an absolute gimme for an Irish Derby winner, getting £15 from Stradivarius. There has become a sort of rule as we're going along, if you're hardened, seasoned RP Live watchers, that if we don't mention the rags, they tend to go very close indeed as Stradivarius ambles down. Naif Road, you've mentioned, won the Gordon Stakes last year. Pace angle.
Yeah, I think Naif Road will lead. I think he's bit of a DXB though, isn't he? Just sort of sets the race up for Stradivarius. What about the horse I'm surprised he's running, a Spanish Mission? Remember when he won over in, was it Belmont last year?
Yeah.
Jamie Spencer gave him an absolute blinder. He won a big race out there. I think it was a Jockey Club Invitational, wasn't it, at Belmont Park on the turf.
Yes,
Went
it
to
was.
Meydan Flopped, didn't he, out there? Went to Sandown, got beat by Dashing Willoughby. I had him down actually as being a decent sort of mile and 6, mile and a half horse for this year. And it's
just touched off by Naif Road in the Gordon Stakes last year. It was a close finish in that, you remember.
Yeah, and he beat Naif Road, didn't he, at Newmarket in the Bahrain Trophy before that.
It was a pretty good comeback as well, wasn't it? Because there was loads of money from that day in the Sandown race.
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII that Dashing Willoughby won.
We covered it, didn't we,
That's
on this
right.
show? And
it was one of those races where you didn't want to be coming off the pace. It was a small field race, and Dashing Willoughby is a tough cookie, isn't he? And I don't know, I could see James Doyle having a say in this.
He's going to hold him up. He's going
to be ridden cold, isn't he, out the back?
It's a disappointment that there's only 7 runners, isn't there, I suppose, from the dead 8 angle would have been nice, because these horses would therefore be shorter in the market. Neil Hubbard, what are the angles that we can have for this?
Yeah, so we've got a few options here. So you've obviously got the place or 3 places market. There's a market without the favourite.
What about, I want to back Spanish Mission to finish in front of Naif Road.
So
is there a way of doing that?
You've got an A versus... Yeah, you've got A versus Bs, which is basically your match bet, and it is Naif Road versus Spanish Mission.
I want that, because I think Naif Road is going to be ridden from the front.
So Spanish Mission, you can get 9-5 on Spanish Mission to beat Naif Road.
Love it,
ridden
absolutely.
Cold. Naif Road will just run Spanish off the ground.
We've got a team match bet as well, so the narratives will be going on through the race. Where are you going?
We can play this.
Stradivarius we trust.
We can play this for racing welfare if we want. We could have £50 on this for racing welfare.
We've got time. They're ambling behind the stalls.
Yeah. So in this match bet, so Naif Road versus Spanish Mission. So quite simply, who will finish ahead of the other? So it doesn't matter if they're last and second last.
I think it'd be third Spanish Mission. I think Stradivarius beat Santiago by 2 lengths. Spanish Mission's about 5 lengths back in third.
I don't think there's any question that if there were the dead 8, we would see Spanish Mission seeing each way support without question.
Yeah. I don't think Eagles by Day can beat him. Who Dares Wins was given a great ride. He's got no chance today, but was given a great ride at Royal Ascot.
Magnificent. Tom Marquand's breakthrough at Royal Ascot for Alan King, who just had a sensational week. First time visor for the old chap. The 8-year-old, hope he runs well. Yukon Glen, we should mention as well for Jim Gold. He got bundles to find. He's not a bad horse in his own right. Run well in top handicap company. Oisin Murphy takes a ride. Oisin's still waiting for a breakthrough as well. Are we about to see Santiago break through in the top of the Cup division, or will it be order as usual with Santiago just coming up short against Stradivarius? I'm looking forward to this call. We've got a time for a chat in this call, of course.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time during this race, haven't we, to enjoy it. So they're just about ready for the Al Shakab Goodwood Cup Group 1, part of the British Champions Stayers Series. Can you do it for a 4th time? They're off and racing. Naif Road, no surprise, straight to the front. Santiago's going to sit second, I think. Really under restraint is Yukon Glen, the outsider. Who Dares Wins goes third. Where's Frankie? 4th place.
Yeah.
Stradivarius just in alongside Yukon Glen. As expected, Spanish Mission ridden cold at the pink and black at the back. Eagles by Day also held up towards the rear of the field. So Naif Road is allowed to do his own thing in front today.
Cat and mouse at the moment so far. For the first time today, we're seeing this real tactical race. And Santiago just off Naif Road. They know he's a stout stayer. He's a little bit keen for my money, Neil Hubbard.
Who's Santiago?
Yeah, is he drifted in the run at all, Neil?
Not really. He went off 2.92 and he's 2.96, so he's round about the same price. To be honest, the market is pretty much as you were. Naif Road perhaps a tad shorter, which you'd expect, but it looks like the way this is going to develop that Santiago might get first run here on Stradivarius.
James Doyle is a boy, isn't he? He's obviously spoken to Jamie Spencer because he's doing a Spencer, isn't he? He's right out the back on Spanish Mission. Eagles by Day, a horse that came back to form. First run for David O'Mara last time. He's out the back as well. Bit of a freebie so far.
Yeah, Naif Road allowed to do his own thing. I guess he might just, as Neil said, come in the betting at the moment. But again, we saw this at Ascot. He made the running, but he made the running at a stronger pace at Ascot. He's just dawdling in front by 3 lengths. Santiago sits second. The Irish Derby winner. Who Dares Wins third for Tom Marquand, the hot favourite, looking for his 4th Goodwood Cup. Stradivarius sits in 4th place. 2 lengths back to Yukon Glen, then Eagles by Day, and Spanish Mission, as expected, ridden cold by James Doyle, is last.
If you're watching in the run, I mean, Who Dares Wins it is one of the smallest jumpers you'll see at the Cheltenham Festival. He's making Stradivarius look like Mighty Mouse. He really is actually dwarfing him. Santiago looks the real deal. Settled a little bit better now. Looks like they're hotting up the pace. Neil Hubbard, any moves?
Not really. Stradivarius a little bit shorter. But
have we been matched?
No, not yet. But it does look like Stradivarius has got a little bit closer to Santiago based on from how they jumped at least. He's within a length or two now.
I'll tell you what, Eagles by Day is absolutely cruising. Could this be a big improver in the Cup division just 10 days after that York win? He could have a say here, I think. Naif Road, again, he's just having a little look around him. I think he wants to go a little bit quicker, but Atzini putting down the anchor.
I think Andrea's happy though, isn't he? He's got him to a nice rhythm in front. He's got that little 3-length buffer, but he's got Santiago right behind him Frankie won't want to let Ryan get too far ahead of him, though, would he? That's the thing. He doesn't want to let Ryan Moore get
It
3
just
or 4
felt like
lengths
he's
ahead.
got a little bit closer.
No surprise, though, that he's going to allow that rival first run because Stradavarius, the Cup King, hasn't he got a turn of foot? They're into the home straight. Tony Ennis.
So it's still Neff Road in front by a couple. Stradavarius is back in 4th place at the moment. 2nd for Santiago. The second favourite's going really well for Ryan Moore. On his outside is Who Dares Win. Stradavarius, though, no cards played yet as they descend the hill towards the final half mile in the Goodwood Cup. Looking towards the back still. Eagles by Day, Spanish Mission. And
Here comes
Glen.
Spanish Mission.
We're matched at 1.8 on Stradavarius.
Oh,
Wow.
Who Dares Win's now getting lower in the saddle. He's feeling the pinch, the 8-year-old. Spanish Mission on the outside. What is Frankie going to do? Tony Ennis, he's going to have to get out. Ryan,
He
not
needs to
moved
get
yet.
out, but he's lucky because Who Dares Wins has dropped back. But Ryan's going better, I think, at the moment. Santiago
Yes,
in the
he
centre.
is.
Santiago favourite.
Santiago going really well. Stradavarius is under the pump here, isn't he? I think he's in
Come on,
trouble.
Strad. Come
His
on,
head's to
Strad.
one side. Santiago's got
Eagles
to the
by
front.
Day.
he's gonna be
Spanish
beat,
Mission
isn't he?
having a big say. He's going to
Stradavarius
really
is
have
trying
to
to
fight.
get out,
Here he
isn't he?
comes.
He's out
Come
now.
on, Straddy. Off you go. Set him alight. This is where the weight should really come into play. Tony Ennis, is he going to get there?
Neff Road's coming back, but here he comes, Stradavarius. He's
Oh,
got
gonna
he's
do
a
it.
champion, isn't he?
Come on then.
Neff
Come on.
Road's
Get
going to
up,
finish
you get.
second.
Yeah.
He wins
Whee!
another Goodwood Cup. Extraordinary. How's he got there? Must have gone bigger than evens in the run, Neil, but Stradavarius wins again. Neff Road, hats off for second. Massive run. Santiago, not quite good enough, only 3rd.
Yeah, Spanish Mission didn't get home. Eagles by Day looked like it came a bit quick. The Rags finished out the back. We didn't think there'd be much drama in the small field, just the 7 runners. But Frankie Dettori stretches out his hand. Oshie Murphy misses the high 5. Ooh, Frankie Dettori pressure off. It's been, listen, the record there, 4 Goodwood Cups.
4
What
in a
an
row.
amazing horse that is. Neil Hubbard, tell us about the market.
Well, that was much more like it from an in-running perspective
Oh.
for the first time this week. So Stradavarius hit a high of 3.6, which you can
Wow.
5 to 2 and bigger.
Yeah, 5 to 2 and bigger. Santiago 2's on 1.51.
Man.
Neff Road 2.1.
Neff Road went 11 to 10.
11 to 10, and even Eagles by Day hit 8.8.
11 to 10.
Neff Road, yeah.
What are we watching?
Here, about here.
Wow, unbelievable.
Gone on,
scenes.
isn't he, Neff? But he was game. But I think Neff Road, the key thing is he went a lot quicker, didn't he? Today he didn't go as fast early, so he had a bit more left. And obviously the shorter distance helped him a bit.
That was good from Stradavarius, because he did look in trouble, didn't he?
It's, again-
And I think he looked in trouble not necessarily because of the horse, just because of the nature of the race. He looked in
I
trouble.
thought he wouldn't get
That's
out
not-
at one point.
Yeah.
I think his head slightly to one side. You could
Because
see him.
Eagles Day was coming in
Yeah,
on
I
him,
thought he was
wasn't
going to get boxed in. But
Man,
no.
what price did you get about Stradavarius? Did you get him in running? Did you take the plunge? Did you have trust in him at this point? 2 furlongs out. Frankie's thinking, where am I here? This is a classic Goodwood run. If you think about his previous Goodwood Cup, he's come up the centre from memory, hasn't he? So no such luck this time. The tactical cat and mouse, it got really concertinaed. Every runner held a chance of sorts at some stage. Maybe you can, Glenn. I think you might be shouting at the telly saying he had absolutely no chance. But when you thought the £15 might come into play,
Yeah.
you have to really give it to the 2 older horses here, don't you?
Yeah, there
He's
was
not quite stayed, has he, Santiago? He hasn't got the distance, it looked like to me.
There was
Bizarre.
£900 on Stradavarius at around 5 to 2 in running. But we got our 1.8. We
We're
probably
happy.
could have been a little bit more.
Don't
greedy.
be greedy,
aye.
no,
No,
don't
we're
be
happy
greedy.
with that.
The one thing that did go badly wrong was the Spanish Mission Neff Road match bet, so I hold my hands up there.
Yeah.
That didn't happen, did it?
Something in there.
We were expecting-
Stradavarius for the Arc, 14s from 20s.
Well, look, we've seen it with Order of St George, haven't we? This is a better horse than the great Cup horse of Aidan O'Brien's, but I think this is just what can we say now? The My Racing treble was landed. Elliot Hackney, one of our senior producers in the studio, called it the mug treble to me. Well, not if you're on at 14 to 1, I don't think. You can see the little boy from the Potteries jumping around up and down in the studio. I
It
think.
looked too obvious, didn't it, almost? But then, there we go. It's-
Once again, the bookmakers take an absolute pounding day one at Glorious Goodwood. This is what we like. The liquidity must be really strong now, Neil Hubbard.
Yeah, there was over £2.5 million matched on that Goodwood Cup. That was a great race, just
Wasn't
thinking
it?
about it. Yeah, that was really, really good. Because that's what you want to see from your champions. It's all very well when they're odds on and they sort of, go out and win unchallenged. And that's great to see in its own right. But when they're actually in a battle and things don't necessarily go quite right
He
for
loves a
them,
battle,
which
this
is
horse,
that.
doesn't he? He loves
And he
a
just
battle.
digs
He
in. And
does.
that's why horses get the followings they do, stuff like that.
Thinks back to the Yorkshire Cup last year when he really got into some battles, didn't he? And Frankie said this guy loves if it was
He
a
rolls
boxer.
his sleeves up, doesn't he, this fella?
He
when
does.
He has to.
I mean,
But
he's got literally everything, isn't he?
He can do it on the bridle like at Royal Ascot in the Gold Cup off a fast pace. He can win off a slow pace like today because he's got everything.
I think what was really key to that race, though, as well, that like when they jumped out the stalls, Santiago probably had about 3 or 4 lengths on him. And you could then just see, just when they were, just before they turned for home, Frankie got a lot closer to Santiago, and it was almost like, right, now we're settled into a rhythm. I can't be spotting him 4 lengths, 5 lengths with the weight that you called, Dave, when they were getting close. And you could see, we often talk at the end of a race, that's where horses lose races or wins races. It's not. It's in those, either at the start or in those midsections. And that's where Frankie sort of made the move there.
And I wonder, you talk about that absolutely right. A lot of people think that, when you're watching in your members section at the replays, the closing stages are by far the most popular, but it is often the early stage you need to see. And for me, we were talking about Santiago not getting home. Was he just that tad keen early when they were just mucking around with the pace? It was uneven, wasn't it? And that blunts a horse's finishing speed at the end. I certainly think Ryan, 3 to 2 furlongs out, was getting really confident.
Yeah. Just shows the difference. A pace makes the race, doesn't it? Because Royal Ascot, think how well strung out they were in the Gold Cup because they went a fast pace. Today they've gone a slow pace and they've all finished within a sort of 10 lengths of each other, haven't they, in the end? And
the thing is, when you're coming on to do this show in particular, you're thinking, right, we've got our feature race, we've got a 4 to 7 on shot, we've got just the 6 rivals against him. Where are we going to come with the drama? Unbelievable. Good.
I tell you what, watching it again, I think he's thankful to Eagles by Day because there was a moment when Eagles by Day, if he'd have rolled in down the camber on him,
he could have done it.
He'd have been in trouble, but he didn't. If you watch him, he just hangs off the rails and goes left. He's gone right. That
really had to fight. We're just watching it in the corner of our eyes. We can see on the screen. Frankie got really animated.
Well, he drops to 5th at one point.
Was it here? I think it was there, about 2 out when he went the big price.
11 to 10, Nayef Road. Whoa, some burnt fingers, I guess, in the run as well.
I mean, we flagged Eagles by Day as potentially one of the dark horses who might outrun its odds. I think that is, bearing in mind this came just 10 days after that York run.
That's a good one.
And he would probably go to Doncaster for Doncaster Cup, something like that.
They were talking. They put me away, David O'Mara, when I was doing the analysis for this.
Would he be Ebor?
I think they mentioned the Ebor or go back for the Lonsdale, something like that. So he'll turn up at York, I think, no doubt in that.
It's only a 4-year-old as well, so there's plenty of mileage left in him yet as well.
And it's good to see him settling now. Michael Bell, his previous trainer, just couldn't get him to settle seemingly. So, wow, the feature race, the Group 1 Goodwood Cup. It has gone the way that many expected out there. Pressure on for John Gosden. Frankie Dettori off the mark for the week. So much more to come.
Huge week, wasn't it? Pressure for Gosden and Dettori. Obviously, Enable at the Saturday. And now, I know they Enable didn't have a lot to beat, but the fact they both won and they both passed.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? These stars that they get, which of course so much is made. The one thing lacking from Aidan O'Brien's CV is that absolute 130 star. Had lots of fillies, world-beating fillies. But you think back to, he's had, superb horses such as, I suppose a Galileo. You would put up there, wouldn't you? But if you think about Frankel's year, See the Stars, Fame and Glory, who was the miler that kept coming up short?
Hawkwing.
Hawkwing was, I guess.
Did you mention Rock of Gibraltar?
Rock of Gibraltar was a superstar. We should go there. But certainly in the last 10 years, they're just lacking that absolute superstar. Just, I guess, so many stamina-laden horses, aren't there? And Gosden just gets these rock and roll, just pin-ups, doesn't he? It's absolutely remarkable.
He's had some of the best horses in the last 4 or 5 years. Obviously, Straddy, Enable, Golden Horn. I thought was a bit underrated, really, for what he did in his career. I thought he was an absolute champion.
Yeah.
Golden Horn.
Yeah, I think John Gosden.
Cracksman
as well, yeah.
Yeah, they're all up there, and you can do it over a variety of distances.
Mishrif as well now.
Well, Mishrif, you're talking him up like he's Pegasus or something. So, I'll give you that one. How's the Fauna French Derby working out? Let us know. Can you find any holes in it? Let us know how you're getting on out there. Get your social comments in, YouTube, Facebook, live. Great to have you along. Myself, Dave Orton, Tony Ennis calling the races today, and Neil Hubbard from Betfair. Neil Hubbard's going to be with us for the rest of the week. Tony Ennis, you've got another 2 races to come. We're moving on to one race to come, I should say. One race to come only.
That's it.
I told you this would fly by.
The sprint handicap to come, that's it, isn't it? I've got with your friend, Tom Marquand, Recon Mission in that.
I love Tom Marquand. Yeah, but I'm hoping that he doesn't
doesn't win that one.
Okay, so look, we've got absolutely fast and furious stuff coming up here, haven't we? This is the 3:45 coming up, of course, the Qatar Handicap, the 5 furlong race. It's a very fast sprint course, isn't it, Tony Ennis?
Oh yeah, they really do rock and roll down that hill when they get going. It's going to be really fast and furious. But again, it's not. Having said that, it is a 5 furlong race. You can ride a race. You don't have to go off in front. You can sort of just sit behind. It's about getting the run at the right time.
Yeah.
There's loads of speed here. A Moment of Madness will probably go off very quick, I'd imagine. A lot of pace in the race. Recon Mission's going to be interesting to see how he is ridden because he's been running over 6, hasn't he? But he does make the running over 6.
How many front runners do you want? That's why I think it comes to Celsius's way. Before we have a look at the market for our final race of the opening day here on RP Live, we've got a nice little filler here for you. Don't forget it's Galway going on this week as well. Serial winners from Betfair. This is Joseph O'Brien. Could he take out the Galway plate? Have a look at this.
Many would assume he shouldn't be there. He's only there because he's riding for his father, and that just creates so much pressure.
It's Australia who is out in front. A decisive move by Joseph O'Brien. He's gone straight to the front and asked the horse to quicken.
He's been always mixing with the elite of the bloodstock world, both human and equine.
You know, Joe Crowley, Anne-Marie Crowley, Aidan O'Brien, greatest horse trainer that's ever lived.
The father and son combination of Joseph and Aidan O'Brien won the Investec Derby with Camelot.
It was in Joseph's DNA.
You're going to want to bust out your own path in life.
He's in this game all his life. He knows nothing else.
There's been thousands of winners trained up here.
The pressure is immense, and it's up to you then to deliver.
The drama Betfair presents. Check out the full video on YouTube. You can see that. Some great productions there. If you saw the Tiger Roll one, how exciting was that? He'll be back next year for another national. Do not worry about that. Right, shall we go to our final race then, chaps? The 3:45 here on RP Live. Fast and Furious, as we said. Honestly, we'll talk to you about the pace map. How many front runners do you want? Let's see where the market's going. Now, I really fancy one in this. Yes, he's been well found in the market. Everything looks right to me. Neil Hubbard for Celsius and Andrea Azzini.
Yeah, this should set up perfectly for him, and the market agrees. He's 4.1, so that's just bigger than 3-1. Recon Mission next in 4.9. Final Venture and Acclaim the Nation both at 9s. Well Done Fox at 11. Benny the Jets 16s. Yeah, there's plenty of pace in this, and it's actually going to be a front runner that I'm going to side with.
Go on.
I'm going to back Ornate, who is just a speedball, really. He was only beaten 3 lengths by Batash at this meeting last year. So that shows the sort of pace that he's got in his locker.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be a surprise, because there's so much pace in this, if it blows up late on and something swoops. So what we're going to do is we're going to back in pre-race, but we're going to put in an in-running lay just for a bit of compensation.
We're
going to back him here at 20, which is 19-1. So we're going to have £25 win on him at 19. He is now. So we're going to let's put that bet
That's a bit
on.
shorter than I was expecting, you know.
So that's the price, and then we're going to lay him back in running. So we think that he will probably hit, let's say, about 10-1 in running or 9-1 in running. So we're going to lay that back to get our stake back and a little bit more. So we're going to put that in there. We're going to place that bet. It's going to be unmatched because obviously we're trying to lay it at shorter than what the market is, but we're going to keep that bet. So we've backed him at around 20s, and we're going to look to lay him back at 10s in running, which if all that works out and he ends up winning, we're going to try to create for ourselves there a risk-free bet because of the nature of the way the race is going to be run. So that's the theory. Let's hope it works out that way.
Well, the theories have been going to plan so far out there. Let's get some more social comments in. We've still got 3:45, the final race. You've got time to get your shouts out. Hashtag RP Live, Facebook chat, wherever you go. The guys will monitor it and get it up. If it's worthy, we'll give you a shout. Punters have been having a great day. You like risk-free. Let's face it, well, Mishriff, but you like risk-free punts. Is that madness, or are you happy with that?
Yeah, it's good. It's a very good offer. Just think about this race. It's going to be fascinating, isn't it?
Who have you gone for?
I've gone Recon Mission, but I'm hoping he doesn't make the running.
I don't think he can make the running.
No, I don't think he will, because he's a 6 furlong front runner.
I think
he'll switch off. I think him and Celsius, they'll both be coming with runs late. It's who gets the break, isn't it? Who gets that trouble-free run?
Well, I'm hoping it's Celsius. I thought he should. I mean, look, I think he should be slightly over 3-1, but I can see why the people are coming from. He's got stand-side draw. We're thinking first race on the sprint track of the week so far. We're thinking high draws is better than lower until we see differently. Don't forget, we've got the Stewards Cup coming up, would you believe it, on Saturday. The Cavalry Charge, one of the best betting races of the week. This will give us a little steer on this. He's in 10. He can get behind early. But listen, forget his run for Tom Clover last time at Newmarket. They dawdled for a sprint race. Front runner got the run on him. He flew home for second. This is a horse going places, and he has got that course form. It's just whether he can lay up through the first 2 furlongs. If he does, I think this is all over. But because we've got Acclaim the Nation, he likes to be up there. Well Done Fox, he likes to be up there.
Caspian Prince.
Caspian Prince, he is.
Well, I was just looking at the betting for
Sizzler.
Caspian Prince, and I was thinking that he must be a non-runner because I can't find him in the betting. And he's the outsider at 42. Caspian
A
Prince.
moment of madness. He's also, he only got one way of running, isn't he?
Yeah,
Benny and the Jets can be up there. Only Spoofing can be up there as well. Acclaim the Nation, I said. So Count D'Orsay, I thought, Final Venture and Celsius would be the ones that swoop.
I like
It doesn't
Final
always go that
Venture.
way.
I like Final Venture. I think he's interesting here. But Celsius, I've obviously played this in a way that tries to showcase some exchange functionality and looking at how the race might be run. If you're asking me of the most likely winner of the race, then I would be with you, Dave, with Celsius, just because of the way I think this will probably set up perfect for him. But races aren't run on paper, are they?
Well, and this is the fascinating thing. Listen, jockeys do read the spotlight comments in your racing post. So I used to do spotlight writing, and when you do it, you're like, right, there are 10 front runners in this. Let's go for the obvious Celsius, if you like, in the run. The jockeys will read it and they'll go, hang on a minute, I can't be doing this. And the connections will read it as well and say, if you take each other on, I'm going to be absolutely livid with you. Yeah. So who is going to be the one that goes from the front? I think Ornate will probably lead Caspian Prince and Acclaim the Nation.
I think Ornate has only got one way.
He's just so quick. Yeah. We watched him back at Royal Ascot. We always look for where Ornate is in the big fields because it's wherever that is, you want to be tagging onto him. Tony Ennis, how are you expecting to call this?
Loads of pace, as you say. I think it'll be a 4-way go for the front between Caspian, Ornate, Moment of Madness and Acclaim the Nation. Just interested to see where Recon Mission and Celsius are at halfway. The in-running market, this could be a really fascinating one. You could get one of those races where you get a really big price winner here in the run because I think Celsius will come off the bridle about a furlong and a half out and Recon Mission, but they're both going to be finishing.
You like Recon Mission.
I like
One
Recon.
man who is on a recovery mission, it's Paul Keeley, but his strongest bet comes at the next.
The best bet in this sprint is that one of the ITV commentators will say, don't blink or you'll miss it, because there's so much pace in this race. They're going to go like bats out of hell. Caspian Prince and Ornate, who led the field by a merry dance in last year's Goodwood Cup, are going to go really, really hard, and you're going to want something to pick them off from the back. The obvious one is Celsius, the actual only hold-up horse in the race, but I think Recon Mission, dropping back to 5 furlong after making the run in at Newbury last time, is going to be in the perfect position. He will track the 2 front runners and he should be able to pick them off.
Recon Mission. Well, I told you that he would. You said, who's he gone for, Dave? And I said, Recon Mission. Do you know what Tony Ennis just said? He went, oh, but he's cold.
Paul Keeley, when he's hot, he's very good, but you're telling me he's on a bit of a bad run, isn't he? He thinks in himself he's on a...
I think he went 0 from 15 until banging them in all over the park at Royal Ascot, which a man can do. And don't forget, if you're
this
watching
is where he
the whole
bounces
show,
back.
he was in the office waiting to have a beer with us after the show, but it's so cold out there, he's gone home. Would you believe it? But Dave Jennings, he's having a sizzling day, and I think, what was he 4-timer up or something like that? Can't remember what he's got, but he's also on Recon Mission as well. I must admit, I looked at Recon Mission. He's back on his last winning mark. It was better run last time, wasn't it? Tony Carroll, Tom Marquand, really good. A combination to be with. Tom Marquand off the mark already on the day. Stall 5. It's there. I just worry about him. I think he's just got one way of running, and I don't think he can lead over the minimum.
Yeah, I'd wrote down that he's in form. He's well handicapped. But he's 1 from 8 over the minimum trip as well. But everything's there for him to run well. And if this was 6 furlongs, I would be more confident if it was 6. But it's no surprise if he does win.
Yeah, okay. So the handicap has left him on that last mark just 9 days after the last run. So there's so many angles in here. Are you getting the feeling that we think this might be pretty quick early on? Again, it could be a slightly rough race, couldn't it? It doesn't always go to plan, like I say. The jockeys, sometimes you think to yourself, right, well, I'm on the hold-up horses, like I say, and they just don't go that fast. On the all-weather, it drives you absolutely mad when that happens. A word for Final Venture, please, Neil Hubbard. He's now down from a mark of 100 for the first time in ages. 8-year-old Paul Midgley, one of the Sprint Kings out there, certainly in the north, one of the Sprint Kings.
Yeah, he's well handicapped on his old form. He's really dangerous in this type of race. He's around 8.8 on the exchange. It would be absolutely no surprise if he popped up here. He's got to have a massive chance. And at 8.8, you can, that's potentially a little bit bigger than I was expecting. I think he's got to be there or thereabouts. I really do.
We're just getting news coming through. Thanks for that, Neil. On Final Venture, if you like him, fairly solid case. And again, I can see him going. We're just hearing breaking news here at Racing Post that John Gosling has confirmed, listen for this, chaps, it's going to be the pre-Foy next for Stradivarius before the Arc. Bjorn Nilsson, the owner, getting his way. That suggests, guys, doesn't it, that he won't be coming back for a 4th Gold Cup, I think, next year. This suggests they're just going for the Arc.
Yeah, because I think, wasn't there always talk that Bjorn Nilsson didn't want to engage Enable? They didn't want to rock the Enable boat so to speak.
What, last year when she was going for
3 in a row.
3 in a row, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Maybe this year she just thought, right, I'm going to be selfish. I'm going for the Arc.
Yeah, so Goz has now got the problem of keeping 2 owners very, very
And who
happy.
rides him? Andrea?
Ooh, who rides him?
Andrea Razzani. He's got to be the call, isn't he? He's ridden him before.
Tony Ennis, cat amongst the pigeons.
There's no way.
It's gotta be
There's
Andrea,
no way
isn't it?
Frankie gets off enable. So you'd
What
imagine.
about What about Rabiot?
I think Andrea Razzani will get the shout. Ridden him in.
What else?
Didn't he ride? Didn't he win 2 Doncaster, 2 Goodwood Cups?
He did.
Andrea?
He did. We're hearing. Yeah, Rob Lee in the studio.
You'd
Says
imagine
he
he
did
Varian
indeed.
or Sheikh Obed wouldn't have anything for the Arc, would he?
No,
So
I wouldn't think so.
No, well, no, unless Defoe runs again, of course. Hopefully,
where
they'll
was
give up
he
on
in the
that
King
mission.
George? Where was he for the King George?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
he'd
another
have
one
been.
that could have turned up for the King George, absolutely. Yeah, so, oh my goodness me. Okay, Stadavarius goes for an unbelievable looking Prix de l'Arc to triumph in the Prix.
I think it's great, though. I think that's great that he's going for it.
And
why
a
not?
of course, we should say for the.
And of course,
for
I
the
mean, we hope nothing goes wrong with Enable, but there's always a chance that she doesn't make the lineup, and then if she doesn't, what a great horse to have in her place.
Just bombshells, bombshells, bombshells from you today, isn't it? That's all we've got. I don't think this will be the last we've seen on Tony Ennis here on RP Live. Certainly not the last we've seen of Neil Hubbard. He's back for the next 4 days, as am I. As we're hoping you will be as well. Get your comments in. We read the feedback afterwards. And just see in the corner of my eye, Frankie Dettori, loving life again. Frankie, wow. Again, another unbelievable year for Frankie because of these monster horses he's riding, Tony. Have you ever seen a better flat jockey?
No, probably the best in the world for my making.
Ever?
Ever's a big shout. There's been some good ones down the years.
Well, you were talking about Fred Winter earlier.
Dick Hearn
Dick
got
Hearn,
mentioned.
unbelievable.
Ever's a big shout because there's been obviously.
You think Leicester was better?
Leicester, Pat Iddery, Steve Cawthon. There was a golden era, wasn't there? That Willie Carson.
He's certainly the best I've ever seen riding live. I didn't get to see Leicester ride live.
I think this generation. I think
I saw the
90s
late
onwards.
Walter
definitely.
Swinburne riding live, and he was an absolute
Yeah.
artist in the saddle. But yeah, Frankie for me all the way. Kieran Fallon not too far behind in this A-Day. Neil Hubbard, Frankie Tory, a wine.
I agree with you with Fallon. I think you always have a soft spot for the jockeys who you like when you first got into racing, either just following it or betting. And there's certain jockeys that you just have an affinity towards because of that. And for me, it's probably Fallon. But in terms of at the top table, in terms of his generation, still riding now, longevity, the works. Has to be Frankie, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've got a young brigade coming up, haven't we? And real. I think the jockeyship is in safe hands, isn't it? I'm really excited to see what Kieran Fallon's going to do throughout.
We have a
his
new
career.
favourite for this.
Ooh,
Recon Mission.
What?
4.5, just nosing ahead of Celsius. Although, to be fair, it is pretty tight at the top of the market between the two of them. But Celsius 4.6, Recon Mission 4.5.
Gamble.
Recon Mission was as big or bigger than 5-1 last night, so he's into 7-2 now. So a pretty decent market move, really, for him.
Something interesting as well, Enzo, while you're in to get your take on this. At Royal Ascot, it's one thing we weren't really seeing because I guess lack of punters and bookmakers on the track. Well, those last-minute gambles, we weren't seeing too many. I suppose Art Power, your nap of the week, yeah, just to give you another nod again on that one. But we've been missing, haven't we, these late gambles. That people hearing the word on track, people looking at the trends and how everything's working, the buzz on track, the punters can still move horses.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, May Danny was probably one of the. Was
That
a
was a
late
proper
move at the first,
gamble.
wasn't that? Was only really last 20 minutes, wasn't it, as well? That
Yeah, I
went
mean,
favourite.
I'd write down that he was 9.6 last night, and
He
he
was
went
still-
off at 6.2.
He was still, what, about 8, wasn't he? About half
Yeah,
an
it
hour
was
before the
only
race.
about. Yeah, it was only when we started talking
Yeah,
about it.
when I
really,
tipped him
then-
up.
Yeah, exactly at the moment when you tipped him up. Yeah,
I told you he
exactly.
wasn't a modest man, and that's exactly what we get from Tony Ennis. How's the calling been? You've enjoyed it so far because we're throwing it to us and getting some Betfair info as we're going.
Yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed a bit of commentating. It's quite good fun, isn't it? Doing the sort of more relaxed way and sort of bringing you guys in at halfway rather than the.
Yeah, and we started off with Cheltenham back in March, with obviously the lockdown enforced, but we had plenty of time to talk during races. We've got 5 further races coming up. So when you throw to us, I don't know, but
I'm
we'll
going
be
to
ready.
bring you in I'm going to bring you in about 3.5 out.
Good to
So
know,
be ready.
Neil.
Yeah, good to know.
Good to know. Get ready. Neil
Neil's
Hubbard's giving
hoping
us
all
the
Nate's
info
4
for
clear
Betfair.
when I bring him in. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you won't have time to read the prices out here, will you?
And I'll be quickly cancelling the in running lay if he's 4 clear.
No sign of horses going down yet, we should say, for the 3:45. We're 2 minutes off. I'm assuming they are on their way. I can see just John Gosden being interviewed in the paddock, obviously. Actually, they are still walking around the paddock. A little bit behind, aren't they, at Goodwood today?
Yeah, it does happen, doesn't it? I mean,
I think in the first race
half
there
hour
was a
gaps as
horse
well today.
spread a plate, so it had its shoe put back on. So I think that's had a like concertina effect.
And the typical Goodwood style, the Panama hats are out. They don't rush down at
In
God's
no
Race
rush,
Course,
are
do
they?
they?
No.
We're in no rush as well. It's absolutely flown by today. Have you enjoyed yourself? Don't forget to let us know how we can make RP Live even better. Give us your thoughts. There is a survey on YouTube. Look out for that. And download the Racing Post app as well. It's free, you know. How can you go without it? You love the Racing Post app, don't you? You're all over it.
Yep, got it. It's fantastic. Great for news, great for race cards as well. Obviously, when I'm commentating, quick, have a look at those declarations. Yeah, very good.
What's the rest of the week hold, Enz?
Bit of stateside tomorrow on Sky. Nick's calling. I'm not out on track until Monday night. A bit of Windsor on a Monday night.
Oh.
Not the same without the crowds.
It's
obviously.
just not, is it? It's the one. I don't live too far away from there. It's the one I've really, really missed.
Yeah.
It's the one I'm dying to get back to. I must admit that.
But I do like calling there at Windsor.
Yeah, okay. It's been great to have you on. We'll get your highlights after the last race as well. Neil Hubbard staying down all week.
Yeah, down here for the week.
Bit of light dinner tonight, bit of study, back for tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be pretty much the plan for the week, I imagine.
Yeah, okay, happy days. We'll keep Neil off the sauce for now, at least, that's for sure. So I'm Celsius all the way to go through the panels. Recon mission for you and the gamble of the race. I think we can say that now. Certainly the late gamble. And Neil Hubbard, remind us, is ornate?
Yeah, back to ornate pre-play, and we'll try to get a little bit of that back in running. But at the top of the market, Recon mission is favourite now ahead of Celsius, but pretty tight between the two of them.
Well, the one horse that I was tempted, they are actually going in now. That's remarkable. They've got up so quickly.
I think that might be recorded.
That was obviously recorded coverage we saw. Don't worry, we're not going to be 10 minutes late. They are actually behind the stalls. So if you haven't reacted to what we've said yet, there's your chance to do it. Where was I going with this? One horse that I thought might be a flyer in this, and I'm waiting for him to bounce back. He's coming down the handicap, which these sprinters often need to do. It's a 6-year-old only spoofing, who's got some really, really good form. I just worried about the pace scenario for him. Did you give him any sort of chance?
I think he's another one, as you say, back 6 down to 5. Yeah, I think all these 6 furlong horses have got a chance because the pace can be so strong.
Well, okay, good luck, whatever your chance may be. Tony Ennis, we've had him course commentator calling. He's going to call our last race here. It's the 3:45. Well done, Fox. Still waiting to go in. Moment of Madness, throwing his head up like an absolute lunatic. He is a pace angle as well. Who is going to lead? We're putting our money on Ornate. He's so quick. Good luck wherever you're going for the last race here on RP Live. Over to you, Tony Ennis.
Yeah, the blindfold's gone on. Well done, Fox, as well, Dave. Sylvester, of course, in those King Power Racing colours. Moment of Madness normally goes in late. Looks like he's going to do that again. He's another speedball, isn't he? William Buick looking for a double for Charles Hills, has been in good form. How's that late market looking? How are we looking? Favourite Recon?
Celsius has gone back to be favourite now, 7-2. Recon 4.4. Recon Mission 4.7.
He's not having this Moment of Madness, you know, guys. You say he goes in late, Enzo,
yeah,
but
he does.
Really
he's done this before. I remember calling him somewhere, and he did this. Was it Chepstow? I think he didn't want to go in one day. He's just. Not too keen, is he, at the moment?
No, he's got the blindfold on, but he's fully aware of what's going on, let's put it that way. Outright fav, we're expecting Celsius then, Neil.
Gone back to being joints now, so there's nothing between them. It's going to be between Celsius and Recon Mission. Flip of a coin in terms of who goes off fav here.
Final Venture, third best?
Yeah, a bit of money for Final Venture, 8.8 into 7.8, so a bit of late move for him.
Okay,
all right, Enzo, I shall go back to you in the hope that the two will go in now. There's nothing worse, is there, from a commentator? We've done it on Sky many times together when we've been in the studio. You go over to a commentator and they've got it, and then they come back to you. It must be one of the worst
What
things.
proportion of your life do you think you spend watching horses going to stalls?
Bruce Millington's a big one on this. Can't stand it. He said, why are we always focused so much on the horses going into the stalls? But I guess at the moment, well done, Fox is still just walking around.
How many more chances will a Moment of Madness get? Maybe 1 or 2?
Well done, Fox must have that ticket to go in last, mustn't he? Because he doesn't look bothered at all.
I think they both want to go in last, but I think we've got a problem in the other stalls.
Is that Claim the Nation in stall 1? Just getting a little bit restless. And this is the problem. These sprinters, they've been standing still for what? About
Claim the Nation a little bit weak, from 7.4 out to 10 now, Claim the Nation.
He's just drawn, you can see where the break in the stalls there. That's not going to help him either, is it? Where you have the second barrier.
Is that in stall 2?
It's going to be a bit isolated.
Is that Line of Reason in stall 2, isn't it? Caspian next to it.
No, is that Final Venture?
Final Venture, sorry. Yeah, Line of Reason, what am I on about? Yeah, Final Venture.
Same colours.
Yes,
it is the same colours, yeah, Paul Midgley. He gets them, doesn't he? Right, it looks like Moment of Madness might fancy
Come
this
on,
now,
one last chance, Moment of Madness. He's hopefully going to go in. I think he'll go in all right now.
Oh, look
This
at
is what
that.
he does every time. Circles and then goes in. Ready? Handler away. Qatar handicap over the flying 5. They're off and race. Oh dear, well done, Fox. Didn't come out at all well. Also missing it was Celsius slightly.
Moment of Madness is leading.
Recon Mission fell out as well. So the big guns are towards the back. Moment of Madness speed also. Claim the Nation got a great start. Caspian Prince is up there as well. And Ornate just missed it a fraction. Big prices about the market leaders in running or not, Neil?
Celsius is clear favourite now at 11-4 in running.
He's going to need some luck in the run. He's absolutely cruising. Recon's a little bit outpaced, but he will get a clear run. Tony Ennis!
Yeah, Recon Mission just isolated towards the centre. He's not that far away. Celsius needs to pick up. Caspian Prince, the leader, still as they head down inside the 2. Right, Acclaim the Nation's got to the front. Caspian Prince under pressure. Ornate, where are the closers coming from? They're not there at the
Celsius
moment.
needs some luck. I don't think he's going to get it.
Only Spoofing's gone into second place. Acclaim the Nation, though, is still there to Caspian Prince.
Only Spoofing odds on.
Only Spoofing's now claimed Acclaim the Nation and just about nostrilled on as he.
Acclaim the Nation's coming back,
Acclaim
boys.
the Nation and Only Spoofing. Acclaim the Nation's very
this is
game.
gonna
Only
be
Spoofing.
tight.
One more go. Only Spoofing gets up to beat Acclaim the Nation. A Moment of Madness third. Benny and the Jets fourth. We never saw the big 2 in the race at all.
We did not, and I think a recon mission, not sure what happened there, guys, but I think he fell out the back of the telly, so we have to hope that Tony Carroll's 4-year-old is okay. Celsius got a really muggy run, I think, but he just didn't look to fancy it, did he, at all? And again, Only Spoofing called him up before the race. His handicaps, when they drop in grade, it was his turn. It was a two-way battle, Neil Hubbard, wasn't it? From a furlong out, nothing else got in. Wasn't what we were expecting at all. Slightly unsatisfactory race. How did the market react?
Yeah, Claim the Nation. So Only Spoofing got up, didn't he? Claim the Nation 1.33 was as low as he got. Only Spoofing hit a high of 60.
Wow.
It looked like he wasn't going to go past at one stage, didn't it? But then we know he stays 6, so I guess...
Caspian Prince hit 9.4. But that was it, really. It was a 2-horse race for the final, half furlong, really.
A Moment of Madness has hung on for third, we should say. He's hung in there.
Yeah, he's done well.
They'll be
I
looking
think
at the
Recon
Portland
Mission,
again for him,
he's pulled up, has he almost?
He's just
Not
fallen
pulled
out
up,
the
he's
back.
just
I think
dropped away.
he wasn't great away, was he? And the drop back to 5 on this
Caught him
fast
out,
track
hasn't
has
it? Yeah.
totally caught him out. And the pace, they all came towards that stand side, which was the interesting thing. Acclaim the Nation in 1. Ping got all the way out and go. Ornate wasn't great away, actually, by his standards.
Missed it by... he missed it by half a stride.
Was
which
there
in
a
this
match
sort
in
of
there?
race? No, there wasn't.
Okay.
Which in that type of race, if you need to ping the lids and you miss it slightly, you've had it, haven't you?
For the first 2 furlongs, I was thinking, right, this is Celsius. If he gets a run, he
Just got
has to
slightly
go his
crowded,
way.
didn't he? I thought he got slightly crowded between Well Done Fox and the winner.
Yeah, Spoofing's just ahead of him at that point.
It's a good ride from Kieran O'Neill, isn't it? Because he's just bided his time on a horse that does like to stalk the pace. Moment of Madness got taken back as well, didn't he, by Buick? And again, he's a horse that usually goes ping from the front. So the jockeys, they're reading these spotlights again.
Yeah.
And it was Acclaim the Nation for Eric Olsen and Caspian Prince, of course. Mick Appleby now has him. He just goes. And there wasn't, it was just all about a slow final furlong, wasn't it? They were sort of walking towards the end.
Yeah, you feel for Acclaim the Nation because he's done all the hard work, hasn't he? He sort of made the run in. He's
burnt them off. He's burnt everyone off.
And then you just
got
get the sort of 6 furlong, one of the 6 furlong horses upsides you, and that was costly for him.
The bookies will be very, very happy with that. We had 2 gambles, Celsius and Reclaim the Nation. I think pretty much finished last and second last. But Only Spoofing goes and wins then. And that's a really good result, isn't it, of course, for Kieran O'Neill. As I said, Jed O'Keefe, a trainer doing really well. And this is a horse that can hold his form particularly well. Obviously likes Goodwood a lot. Benny and the Jets, I thought, ran well for the guys at My Racing. That was one of their each-way doubles. Didn't quite get there. Acclaim the Nation for Eric Alston. Lovely 7-year-old. Real tough task from stall 1. He's been up there as well in a Moment of Madness. Surely, that is a return to form for Moment of Madness now. Portland is a sort of race they like to look for.
Doncaster's his course, isn't it?
Doncaster.
Yeah, that sets him up nicely. But
Won it 2 years ago, didn't he?
Yeah, you gave a good shout out to Only Spoofing there, Dave, and he's done it nicely, really, hasn't he?
Not a bean on, but hopefully someone did out there indeed. Well, this has been RP Live. That was the last race for us there today. And 3:45, we've seen it all. Let's talk about highlights of the day then. We'll start off with Maidani in the first.
Yeah, personally, great highlight because I've tipped it up at a big price and it won easily.
It all went wrong there for you, Enzo. No, it was
Yeah,
good.
Stradivarius
market leaders have been there,
great.
haven't they?
Yeah, Stradivarius was fantastic. Space Blues looks the 7 furlong king, as we mentioned.
I've had a winner because you've been calling it Stradivarius as well, so someone's
have.
been backing me up. This is a commentator
posh
as well.
Yeah,
and if you're
that's
watching
true.
out there.
What Battleground? 7-1 for the Guineas. Would that appeal to you or not?
Oh, is that what he is? 7-1. Yeah, that's look. At the moment, we're not. It's anything
Early
could really
days, isn't
emerge,
it?
couldn't it? There was a train of thought. Keith Melrose, our betting editor, was talking to the Racing Post about because they've had to rush for Royal Ascot. Have we seen the best 2-year-olds yet? You often look towards the Coventries, I suppose. I suppose the Vintage Stakes as well, but it's got to be Dewhurst, doesn't it? National Stakes.
Yeah.
And Dewhurst for Battleground.
Yeah.
The interesting thing with him, I suppose, guys, is that Pinatubo, did he leave it behind slightly as a 2-year-old for the Guineas? They talk about horses that come slightly fresher, don't they, a little bit later. How many, if you run 5 or more times as a 2-year-old, you can sometimes, others can catch you up. He's a monster, isn't he? Are they just thinking he's a Godzilla at the moment? compared to some slightly smaller 2-year-olds.
Yeah, he must be. I mean, like the natural progression in terms of the racing programme would be National Stakes and onto the Dewhurst. As you say, that'd be 5 runs. You just don't know how much work they'd have been doing and how early he would have been out, what with everything that's been going on, do you? But he looks, well, him versus Master of the Seas, if he heads to the National Stakes, looks like he's setting up to be quite the race, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, for the Pinatobo boys in blue of Godolphin as well. So Stradivarius, of course, I mean, we couldn't have imagined that much drama, Enzo, could we?
Extraordinary how he did look beaten, did he? About a furlong and a half out, came under pressure, looked like he wouldn't get the gap, but Eagles by Day luckily went left instead of right, otherwise it could have been a different story. But yeah, he was brilliant again. 4 Goodwood Cups, extraordinary records.
Space Blues, a word for that, Neil Hubbard.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that turn of foot he showed between, 2 out and 1 out was devastating, really, and the rest couldn't live with him. So that was really good. I think the first 4 winners were really impressive in their own rights. You've had a really good handicap winner that should go on to bigger and better things. Battleground has put down a good marker for your 2-year-olds. Space Blues was that bit of quality that you wanted to see, and Stradivarius was Stradivarius. He was awesome. I think that's the best one I've seen from Stradivarius. I think that was great.
Days. Tony, time to thank you for your service.
Yep, been great.
You'll be back?
Yeah, hopefully back to see Mishriff, maybe York Week, you never know.
Oh, there is a chance of that. You heard it here first. Mishriff for the Jubbmonte International. Thank you for watching RP Live. Don't forget to get your comments in. #RP Live. We do read them overnight. We come back for your feedback. There's some great social comments there. Let us know how the day went. Don't forget to look at that survey as well. You can get your feedback for the show as well. Keep it clean, keep it calm, keep it nice. Myself, Dave Orton, I'll be back for the rest of the week along with Neil Hubbard as well. But it has been glorious. Don't forget, if you're not winning so far, gamble responsibly. We've still got 4 days left here on RP Live.